We will open this meeting of November 20th, 2014. Let the record show that Selectman Jessamine will not be with us tonight, and Selectman Scanlon will be joining us via speakerphone until he arrives. First on our list, there was an error that has not been corrected yet in the Laconia Daily Sun yesterday on the tax rate. It reported that the tax rate was $19.91. However, they neglected to put in the fire district, which is $2.17. Our new tax rate is $22.08. So for the people that are looking out there now, it was Laconia Daily Sun took the information from DRA and neglected to add in our fire district portions, which is $2.17. So our new tax rate, $22.08. There should be a correction coming soon, I hope.
We have no minutes.
We have non-public minutes.
They're down, there's
But
three
that's
sets
down-
downstairs.
That's stuff we read and sign ourselves.
It's going well.
Report from Selectmen.
All right.
What you gonna do, call us? Yeah, call us. John?
He's going to text us when he's ready. We said 3:45-ish.
Well, we're moving right along. Is the way the world goes.
We have a list of items to go over, each of us, right? We all,
Yep, mine's expanded just a little bit.
actually, mine has two.
Some of the list next week.
So the tax rate, I corrected. We have a new senior center program director, Cindy Clarenbach,
Cindy Clarenbach.
Clarenbach. She was formerly of Peabody Home Activities Director for 8 or 9 years. She started working November 17th. This is her first week. Brand new. With that comes some new hours. With the increase, which is absolutely overwhelming to me, it just is so mind-boggling how much the senior center has taken off and evolved. The meals has grown so much. They've added Thursday this year, and they've added a brunch on Mondays. So they've changed the hours a little bit to the senior center. They will be 10 to 2 to accommodate allowing folks to have the meal on Tuesdays and Thursdays and still be able to enjoy a program or play cards or whatever afterwards. So there's some time and they're not rushed out the door. So that's a very positive going forward for the senior center. Today was the senior center's Thanksgiving for the seniors, and there were 47 people today being served. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Cleaning contract, we went over, we went over the cleaning contract. The senior center has been without a cleaning crew since we switched over to Great Northern, and we couldn't afford the prices because obviously we fundraise for those monies. We've done a couple of fundraisers this year and thought, the executive committee thought we could try to reach out and find out what estimates would be and how much, so that we could try to afford it for the coming year, 2015. We got an estimate from Didi Company, which I have, and then Frank from Great Northern came up on Wednesday and looked it over, and right then and there said he would donate his services to the senior center. So Great Northern Cleaning Company has donated their services to clean
Wow.
once a week.
Once a week, Pat?
Unbelievable. Thank you. Great Northern Cleaning
Yes,
Company.
thank you very much.
And they're going to start, they're starting this week. They're going to do it on Thursday afternoons with the exception of Thanksgiving and Christmas. And they're going to start by every 6 months stripping the floor, the kitchen floors, and redoing them, so that
Jeez.
December 4th, they're going to actually do that for us.
That's crazy.
I know, it's
That's
just
crazy.
phenomenal.
Unbelievably crazy.
It just absolutely blew my mind, so thank you to Great Northern
Yes,
Cleaning Company
much
and
appreciated.
Frank. It is much, much, much appreciated. With Wednesday night crew, I have to tell you, we now have people coming from the Veterans Home.
You do?
We have brochures that were put up there telling them about music on Wednesday evenings, and we got
Phone call.
Emily got a couple of phone calls, and they didn't know how they could get there, and they said if there's no bus or taxi or whatever, they said, we'll pick them up. And so one of the seniors went and picked them up, came back, and he was absolutely thrilled. He's going back and tell more people. So I got a feeling we'll be
We
having,
have to add on to that hall.
we're going to have a second floor.
Nothing.
Yeah, you're going to outgrow it.
We're
Wow.
soon gonna, I mean, it's just taken right off, so that's the other thing.
Oh, yeah, I think I left it.
That's due to hard work, dedication by a lot of people.
I was ready to pick them up and...
Speaking of hard work and dedication, I feel that with the years of community service that Tom Gallant has given us in our community, and we wouldn't be talking about a senior center if it weren't for his team and effort putting it into the renovations and making that $20,000 turn into something much bigger, if it weren't for Tom and his crew. Thomas is now moved out of state, and we all wish him well, but I think that perhaps maybe a letter of thanks from the selectmen for all, I mean, he's been on zoning, he's been on planning, he's been life safety, he's been chat, executive, senior, 33 years as TNS Christmas Fund.
He's
I
just
mean,
been there.
He's been there whenever we've needed him. He's been there. So if we could just, if everybody's in agreement, Joyce said she would just draw up a letter that we could just sign and send off to him. I think Heather has his new address, if you're all in agreement.
I would agree to that.
So that's...
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
I've already sent them one, but that's...
And I have an estimate. We should probably wait for John on that. For the door,
Yeah, we should wait for John.
okay. So that's pretty much, the Tilton school taxes, they're going back and forth with Lauren on that. And Joyce, you have that on your agenda as well, right?
The accounts payable.
I have a couple here, but
Oh, you have the...
Oh, you have the payroll?
I have the
We
payroll,
have payroll.
I didn't remember bringing.
and to be signed.
And you have the to be signed?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I was putting down lights, but you have that on your programs, your thing, so I'm good, Catherine.
Well, there's one thing that really doesn't, I mean, I guess I could wait, but it really isn't going to require too much of a decision because the law requires us to do it. I had a woman that came into town hall who's moved into an apartment on Mechanic Street and pointed out to me that there was no handicap parking space in that parking lot. Excuse me, that the town owns. So I didn't have any answers for her, told her I'd have to research it, and what I discovered is that there has to be an ADA accessible parking space over there, and it has to be van accessible.
Yep. It does.
It says at least one parking space must be van accessible, and for every 6 accessible parking spaces, there must be 1 van accessible space. So if you provide from 1 to 25 parking spaces, one of those has to be ADA. So if you only have 1 parking space, it's got to be ADA and a parking lot.
Agreeable.
So, I'm agreeable. Do we want to let Dennis know to take 1 or 2 of those spaces and make it into a handicap?
That should be in form
Well,
of
we don't have a choice.
that should be in form of a
We have to,
motion.
I mean, we can wait for the motion till they get here, but we have to comply with
I
the
don't think
law.
you have to wait for anything, it has to be done. There's no yay or nay, it's,
If it's required by law, do we need a motion?
do we need a motion? I don't think so.
If it's required by law?
We just have to set Dennis forth and put it.
Van accessible parking spaces are same as accessible parking space for car, except for 3 features: a wider access aisle, 96 inches. I don't have to worry about vertical clearance, and an additional sign that identifies the parking space as van accessible.
Huh.
New Hampshire state law requires a sign, and I've noticed when Mark went wheelchair bound, that there are a lot of handicap parking spaces that do not have the sign.
It's not required,
Yes, it is. It's
In the
required
state of New
now.
Hampshire, there is an
so it's
RSA
changed.
Yes.
that requires that.
Last year it changed it. You have to, somebody brought a court case that it was painted on the parking space, but it didn't have a sign.
Right.
And they didn't see it. This was a few years back.
And you'll win.
They did.
Yeah, you'll win. The law requires. New Hampshire RSA 265:73-A requires designated by a sign, and I think it's 5 feet.
So when Dennis comes
So it's
in,
96 inches wide.
how many parking spaces do we have over there now? Mechanic.
That's questionable. I think it's like 7. There's not many. Because we take one away for the dumpster.
And you're going to make one handicap, that really eliminates it. You're going to take 2 for handicap.
For van, yep.
Well, the other thing is I had thought that, well, we already hashed out 1, and we could make that the one, but the law says that...
You can make the next one next to it 1 and have that the opening.
No, the law says, let me read it. The law says, accessible parking spaces must be located on the shortest accessible route of travel from the parking to an accessible building entrance.
Okay?
Which is the beginning of the parking lot.
Yeah, there's no entrance on that end. The entrance to that building would be out on the sidewalk, so it'd have to be out on Mechanic Street end.
Okay, I see.
So,
We must direct Dennis to do it then. There's no vote, just direct them to vote in. It's nothing to be questioned, nothing to be
No,
talked
I
about.
mean, it's not
It's the law.
yes or no, do we want to do it? The law requires
It's
it.
the law, it's the
So
law.
it's really to let Dennis know that we need to be compliant with ADA laws. And he has to know that it needs to be van accessible. I mean, if you want to read this to make sure what I'm reading is correct.
I already read it.
The asbestos site at the former Quinty off of Manville Road, they had sent a letter in. Department of Environmental Services had sent a letter to the property owner letting him know that they had to comply with the conditions. And gave them dates to come into compliance. The property owner wrote back and felt that the fence requirement and gating requirement to keep trespassers off the property was too stringent, and that the trees that were left standing should be sufficient.
Can you hold that thought for a minute?
Yes.
He's available. I think. Hello, John.
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay, it's Catherine, Al, and myself. Joe is not here tonight.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Okay.
I was just updating everybody on what's going on with the asbestos site on the former Quinty property off of Manville Road.
Okay, yeah.
And currently, we're waiting, the property owner had felt that the fence and gate requirements were too stringent. Al and I went over there, and we were able to drive his Jeep onto all kinds of areas of the property. If we'd been on dirt bikes or four-wheelers, we'd have been all over the asbestos site with no problem at all, from several different locations. So I sent an email off to Department of Environmental Services, the gentleman that's handling that, and he is going to also make a site visit. I don't know when, I haven't got a date yet, but that's where the Quinty site is at. I have scheduled 2 more inspections for the high school inspection. We've had 3. I'm sure there'll be far more than the 2. I got a phone call from Cheryl Soma today that they are scheduling getting the hot water fixed on the middle school during February vacation. Until that is repaired, they will still only have a conditional approval.
When was the deadline for the hot water?
There is no deadline for the hot water. When they get a conditional approval, I believe they have 3 years to clear up the situation. So I believe it's been 2 years now. I have had some issues with trash being left on Main Street. A couple of bags of trash and a box was left by the garbage can over across the way beside the little building that used to be Meserve's Market that's in front of the former Stomp Bonnie Press building. And it's difficult to capture these people, but there's a lot of problems in that one area on Main Street. I believe that tenants from one of the buildings are taking their trash and depositing it in the cans of tenants in another building. It is my understanding that the Tilton Police Department would like to put a camera on our building, because often they're looking for cars that have come through this intersection. So I'm going to be talking to the detectives over there about cameras for the buildings, and then I'll bring that to the selectmen once we have a price and a design.
Would this be a permanent or temporary?
Permanent.
Okay.
That needs to wait for Joyce, that needs to wait for Tim. Oh, the rest of it needs to wait. So I'm all set for now. Thank you.
Okay, I have one item, and that's the door. You know, I've gone through several contractors, and I've asked several. One has responded. And the cost of the door and the push bar is $1183. That's not including labor. He feels he can do the labor. If we did a not to exceed $1,600, with an old building, we don't know what's going to happen when you take the threshold and everything else off. So if we did a not to exceed $1,600, he's well assured that he would be coming under that. He indicated to me it would be $200 or $300 for installation. So that would be around $1,500. So I would like to make a motion to buy and have the contractor install a wooden door with a handicap push bar, not to exceed $1,600.
Second.
All right, discussion?
Does that include painted and the final finish on it? Glass
We didn't.
window, or?
It's a glass window, it's like what's there, but wooden, and the push bar. The push bar's $658. That's what's so expensive.
Under my desk.
The paint, we didn't discuss paint, only because we don't know what color to paint it, because we went with a black roof, remember? That kind of changed.
So will there be an additional expense?
No, one of the committee members will paint it.
We'll paint it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not a problem.
So that's not an issue.
Right, non-issue there.
Okay.
I painted the one that's there.
Is this, does this include a storm door?
No.
Or is it just a primary door?
Primary door. We're going to have to have Mango come up and reset the alarm piece that's on it.
Is this door, it's a solid wood door,
Solid wood door, right.
so it's not insulated. So when he puts in the threshold, because he'll have to put a new threshold, it's not threshold, the threshold's
Casing.
what you step on, the casing.
Casing.
Will the new casing allow for a storm door to be attached to it?
All day,
Mine don't.
yeah.
Say that one more time. You need to have
The wooden door, a solid wooden door is not considered insulating,
right,
okay? And it has a glass window in it. That may or may not be insulated.
right.
So my question is, when he's going to put in a new casing, will that new casing allow for a storm door or?
No.
The door swings out. Can't have one.
And it would be tough having one with a handicap unless you put the electronic device that you push to open,
No.
and that's really expensive.
So in the winter, do they have a tendency to shut the two doors that it's in the?
Yes,
Yes.
they do.
Yes,
Okay, so that creates a cold zone
right.
from the heat. Okay, I'm good.
Do you have anything, John?
No, just, I had the same question about the finish, but, you addressed that.
Yeah, and this comes out of the building maintenance, would be town hall building maintenance? Right. Okay, I'm going to call the
Well,
question.
I say, I don't know what's left in there. Town Hall. This is where if we had the candy dish line, it'd be very handy. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Just saying.
You don't want to call it that.
General building expenses,
Yep.
we only budgeted $2,000. It doesn't look like we've spent any of it, so we'll have to find.
No, there's another line, building maintenance.
Vehicle, whoa! Equipment maintenance and repair. Oh. Want me stupid, I can't find it. Travel, dues, postage, printing, training. I find administrative equipment maintenance and repair, that's not it.
It's under admin,
Oh, that's where I am.
and we usually put in 25,000.
Registration, election registration? Why is that north? Town hall, maintenance and repairs. Jesus, I hate to tell you where it was,
I see it.
right above.
So we've spent 9,500,
There's plenty.
right,
One.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. John says aye, so we're all in favor. I will contact Jeff Viana. Oh, this is Mango. Is somebody up there now? Hello?
Yes, sir. System with rapid response monitoring for Mango Security. Can I verify your password or code, please?
Budgie?
Thank you very much. And if I can verify your name?
It's Pat Constantino.
Thank you very much. We're calling for the town of Tilton Grange Hall at 11 Grange Road. Just so we have a couple of alarm trips starting at 3:57. We have a perimeter area and the kitchen door. Then eventually room is canceled.
Okay, we have a new cleaning crew starting today.
Okay,
Yep.
so you think that might have been that coming in?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we'll certainly do anything else I can do for you.
No, that's it, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
John, you still with us?
Yeah, I lost you for a second there.
Well, you did, we got a Mango call for an alarm for the Grange. We have a new cleaning crew up there. We went out to get estimates for cleaning contract for next year for the senior center, because we couldn't afford to get on board when we went with the cleaning crew, and Great Northern Cleaning Company came up and looked at the whole situation and offered to donate their services. So they're going to be cleaning once a week, and they're going to be stripping the floor next week. So it's huge, huge, huge.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that tripped the alarm. We'll forgive them. Okay, can you get Joyce?
Okay. Thanks.
She's cleaning up.
John, what do you have for report?
I was going to go over the fence, but we could wait and have Chuck mention it, but, and you were there with the budget basically for what they said, with the fines and the, library we voted on, right?
Yes.
But, basically, I think Chuck will reiterate, the Conservation Commission paid for half of the fence, but they would like for the fence to remain, for their use and ownership. That portion of the fence is needed in another conservation area in the future.
So they would like...
What?
They would like the fence to remain for their use after it's taken down?
Which
So
portion?
once it's taken down, if the Conservation Commission needs it again, they'll have use of that, their half of the fence to be done.
So they would like to take ownership once it's taken down, so they can reuse it on Salmon Run and stuff.
Of what fence?
The snow fence that's up in Ernie's right now.
Who's paid for it?
We paid half and Conservation paid half.
So they can have half, because I'm sure Dennis will have his half earmarked for something.
Did you hear, Catherine?
Yeah, I did. And Chuck can explain when he comes in later on.
All right. We'll ask him about it when he comes in. I'm going to make a note, snow fence.
Is Dennis coming in tonight?
Yes.
And that's it.
Well, so we can talk, to Dennis will be in.
We asked the Budget Committee last night, Joyce, if we could present our budget December 17th rather than December 10th, so that it would give us an extra week, and they allowed it. So they were okay with that. So December 17th is, can you alert the department heads that it's the 17th instead of the 10th?
For them to go to the meeting.
Right.
So it won't be, that's, yeah, I was just talking with Tim, we just nailed down the last little piece that we needed to put in the budget.
Right.
So now it's all in your hands. But I'll bring that up under mine. So that's, I think that's a first, before the end of November,
Really?
that we got all our stuff together.
Good.
Don't jinx us. Something always happens.
All right, so we have,
This is for the chief. Oh, here's my pen.
we're all set for you.
How long do I have?
As much as you want.
Okay.
Dennis is coming 4:45.
Yeah, it looks like a lot, but it isn't. I really don't need that many decisions tonight.
Listen, George, I've read that before, and you did.
Well, we have to wait for John anyway, so.
Oh, he's right here.
He's on speaker.
Oh, is he?
Yeah?
Hi,
Say hello,
John.
John.
Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna have to speak extra loud then.
Before you start,
Yep.
we discovered that Mechanic Street parking space, for every parking lot we have,
Yep.
even if there's one space, it has to be ADA compliant. So Mechanic Street, is this the information?
Yep.
Mechanic Street does not have any ADA spaces.
We've been out there,
I know,
looking at dumpsters.
but there's no ADA spaces. I didn't look at it with ADA in mind. So Dennis is gonna have to make us compliant. Well, we don't have a choice. It's not
Yeah.
even a yes or no vote. Law says you will.
It may be too cold to paint, but we can at least put up signs.
We can put up a
designate.
sign, and the requirements are, it has to be,
Man accessible.
accessible parking spaces must be located on the shortest accessible route of travel from the parking to an accessible building entrance, and it will have to be van accessible.
What is this you're reading from?
U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Decision, Disability
ADA
Rights
compliant.
Section. Do you want it?
Yeah, I'll make a copy and give it back to you.
We'll do that. So, just FYI, John, did you hear all that?
Yeah.
So while we're doing Mechanic Street, we ought to take a look at any other parking lots we own.
Post office. So, John, this is by law, so we don't have to vote on it.
We don't have a choice.
Right, there's no vote.
So we need to look at all our other parking lots and see what,
Well, we have that, well, it's H, I think, is the one that's next to Tilton House of Pizza, but it also extends back behind some of those units. It's all considered the same lot.
We have 2 handicapped there,
And
though.
there are 2 handicaps there, okay?
was one of them van accessible?
Yes. No,
No, has to.
can't, it's angled.
There has to be a van.
You can't have it, it's angled.
Then they'll have to change it.
You can't change it.
Well, we could put one in the back of the buildings. Doesn't have to be right next to the building, does
We'll
it?
take a look at it.
I don't think they'll grandfather us.
Over by the old post office, there's none there.
And Riverfront's all set, and you're all set at Senior Center.
Yep. Well,
We have handicap, but we don't have van accessible.
but you have that one parking space next to the living, you can turn right into a van, just like that. Simple enough.
You mean where the program director parks?
That's not my problem.
Not mine either.
Nope.
Okay,
Okay, we'll do easy things first.
all right.
BKM Mechanical finally gave me the quotation to install the heating to the register that's on the stage. He is our preferred vendor. He handles all of our boiler and air conditioning work. Thank you, Catherine. And his quote was $2,350. I recommend that the board proceed with having him do this work and it come out of this year's budget.
How much is it, Joyce?
$2,350.
Just spent $1,600 of your maintenance,
Okay.
building maintenance,
That's okay.
On,
That's more left.
senior center door.
oh, good, okay.
Catherine, Ms. Whitten, actually,
Well, we've got...
I called
there's money.
him and asked him, what does this involve? Because it seems a little high to me. If those pipes, the last time Al and I looked at it, it appeared that there is an inlet and an outlet on the register, and down in the boiler room, there are two pipes that are not connected. So if all he needs to do is connect those two pipes,
If.
2350 is quite a bit. So the point is, we don't have a clue what this is for. I'm just gonna do it. Does he have to replace this? I mean, what does it involve?
Okay, well, you spoke with him. Did he tell you what he was doing? This is a while
Just
ago.
asking you.
A while ago when he came in and...
No, he didn't speak to me.
He didn't speak to
He
you?
didn't speak to me. His truck was there, and then I went out to look, and it was gone.
No, even before this most recent visit that he came.
The last time I spoke to him,
Yeah.
he said that that he couldn't find an inlet and an outlet.
Okay.
And you did.
But is that that may not be for upstairs, though.
No, but he said, when he looked at the registers, he couldn't find a pipe in and a pipe out. It was clearly a pipe in and a pipe out.
Yeah, did he go underneath the stage?
No. He did not.
Can we get underneath the stage? I mean, I know we can get in there, but is it open in there to go crawl
Yeah.
through there?
All the way
Cross
back?
through there.
Yeah. I know that we have a ladder in there. That's where the ladder is. Yeah. All right. So, I'm sorry, I was...
called him this morning, I think it was around 10:30.
Yeah.
But he hasn't returned my call. So I suggest we find out...
More detail.
More detail about exactly what he needs to do.
Okay.
It would be nice to get the heat up there.
Yeah, what do you think, John?
Yeah, I was wondering, is that forced hot water?
Yes.
Yes.
And is he going to put in a separate circulator and have that as a separate zone, so it'll be different temperature, or?
No idea.
From what I understand, it's an existing zone, it's just been disconnected.
It's an existing zone that's just been disconnected, we think.
Yeah, it just seemed a little vague to me. I looked at it this afternoon.
Yeah.
I looked at the bid, the bill. Yeah, and I'd like to see some more information and actually take a look at it myself, so.
Okay. All right, we can do that. Last night, Catherine told me at the Budget Committee meeting, they appointed a new Budget Committee member, Juliet Harvey, who currently serves on the Planning Board.
Yes.
And this triggered that one of the things the board had asked that we do is, before the end of the year, we have to send letters to the chairman of each committee to recommend for stipends.
Yes.
And also to have them think about whose terms will be coming up in March, so that we don't have, so we don't have to scramble at the last minute.
I'm not looking at him.
I know. I'm not either, but he'll still be here.
Something at him.
And so that's, just to let you know, we'll be doing that.
I understand that it's the budget committee, so her position is until the election, right? Because they're elected?
This says,
Is that correct?
this is what Cindy put. She said, member 4, which is Juliet, opening in 2015 will be for 2 years. She's filling out a term for 2 years.
Okay, good, so it's not until March 15th, it'll be March 16th.
That's what I assume from what she said.
All right, that's good. I think she's excellent. That's just me, so the longer we can keep her, the better.
I thought an elected position, if someone dropped out, they would fill the position until the next person
That's what I
for the
thought.
following term was vacant.
And then they just do it for another year.
And then they do it,
So they're running for a 1-year term.
but they run for a one-year term. If it's an elected, in other words, if one of us were to drop out now, we have a choice to fill the position until March,
Oh, wait.
and then whatever the remaining term, we would be up for election for that remaining of the term.
Okay, I'll check with Cindy on this.
I would imagine that it would be the same for the Budget Committee, but
But it would just be for, because she's saying for 2 years.
I think it's for the remainder of this term, and then she can be
Remainder of this-
reelected. She can
Remainder of
put
this
it-
year,
Right.
and be reelected for the remainder of the term.
I would double-check on it. It's a great thing, she's wonderful. You know, I've seen her in action on the planning board. It's very, it's a
I
great
see what
asset
you're
to,
saying, yep.
great asset to the Budget
So that
Committee.
would open it up for people to run in March for just a 1-year term.
Right. Right.
Okay, Catherine's looking it up while she's doing that. Catherine, did you get a chance to look at the equalization sales survey that was in the Selectmen's FYI, so that the Selectmen can approve?
No, I didn't know it was in there.
Yeah, we talked about it last
I
week.
looked at it I know what you're talking about. I looked at it last week.
God, I hope
I looked
it's
at
in
it while we
there.
were sitting here.
It should be in the FYI.
Yeah. I looked at it last week.
So this is okay to sign. And then she'll transmit the data.
I've got a lot of questions for her, but we can go ahead and sign that.
Well, that shocks me.
Or do you want her to, her next visit is December 11th?
Yes, December 11th.
Is that the regular Thursday? Thursday, December
Thursday,
11th?
December 11th.
I don't have a calendar in front of me.
I've had a lot of phone calls in the past.
I've made 4
10 days.
appointments for her so far.
On taxes?
Yeah.
Well, people are very concerned about their
I
assessed
am.
value.
Yeah.
One woman's property value dropped by almost 50%. She's very upset because, it's like taking money out of her pocket, and I have no reason for her.
Okay, I guess my first question is, they received the letter of the values in July, and were encouraged to, if they had any questions, to call and make an appointment, or call here, and we would get them an answer.
But we know that a lot of people don't do that.
I've received 2 phone calls, and I gave them the information.
I've made 4 appointments
You've made 4 appointments, okay.
4 appointments,
to meet with Lauren.
Yep.
and they've called.
Went down significantly. So
Okay.
letters were sent letting people know.
In July, when the new values went, before the selectmen accepted the values, letters went to every property owner saying, this is your new value, and we'll schedule hearings.
I've recommended to, I've probably had 8 people call, and I've recommended to all of them to make an appointment with Lauren.
Yep, that's what we do.
3 of them,
And they
3 of them were
transferred one to you.
absolutely
Yeah.
going to do that. One of them already had.
Okay. Well, it's to be expected anyway after an update. But Lauren was surprised that when they did the hearings, there was very little activity.
Did she just give a percentage or the actual amount? Because
No, she gave the exact amount in the letter.
See if I can't finish it off. There we go.
I've saved everyone that came back, and hopefully Dari still has them, because we have to track down, they came back because of addresses.
Right, yeah, we did get a lot of returns.
They came back, so we had to research addresses.
Did you have quite a
I know
few
they
of them?
went out. Not really, because I had sent a mailing like a month before,
I would say like 25 came back.
and then some others came back, so we had to research.
I think you'll find that we're getting these calls because the tax bills went out. People see their tax bills and study them and go,
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
triggers that.
$385.
they just, they gasp. We're delighted that they're,
So
Especially when it was printed in the paper incorrectly.
That
You
the
know,
tax rate was, yeah. And
yeah,
the-
so
I
they're
saw
looking
that.
at the tax rate and say, hey, it's not $19.91, come on.
Has anybody called? Did you or Tim call?
Yep.
Okay.
Supposed to be a reprint, but
Well,
I haven't seen it.
on her next day, do you want to set aside time during the day when you're here? She can talk with you, or do you want her to come to the selectmen's meeting that night?
Selectmen's meeting. John, would you like Lauren to come to speak with the Selectmen's meeting, or do you have questions for her as well?
No, well, I just want to see how some of it played out and her responses to the people that called, that's all.
Would you rather talk with her on your own, or?
no, I don't care. Either way, I'm fine as long as we get to talk to her. I'm happy, either way.
I'm happy too, as long as you update us.
Why don't you ever come? It's been a while since she's come before us anywhere. Anyway.
Okay, so that's all right, December 11th? Okay, so can she be first on the agenda? Okay.
Catherine, put it
Well,
first.
John doesn't get here until 4:30, so.
Right, so that's first. We don't put anybody in before John gets here.
Okay. Well, you get here, what, 4:45, right?
Right, 4:45.
I mean,
That's-
4:45.
So Dennis is coming in at 4:45. That's, we're not putting anybody before then until John's here.
Okay. We'll call her tomorrow to schedule that? Okay. All right. The last piece of information in putting together the budget for 2015, so I'm pretty sure I've spoken with the board before about changing our life, accident, short-term and long-term disability plan. And we got the quotations from Health Trust, and I was waiting for the quotations from our existing carriers. And, of course, I can't put my hand on it right now, but our existing insurances are definitely going up significantly for short-term disability, which is understandable because we've had a number of claims. Here we go.
And this is from Health Trust?
No. I held off on bringing a proposal to the board to change until I got the new rates on our existing, so we'd
Okay.
have something to compare. Right now, we have Boston Mutual for our life and accident, and there was no increase there. That's 15 cents for the life insurance and 3 cents for the accidental death insurance, and that's based on the benefit of 1.51 times your salary, but the salary is capped at the benefit amount is capped at $150,000. Because we have a number of employees that would exceed that amount do 1.5 times their salary, so it's capped at $150,000. And then there are also, let's see, the short-term disability and long-term disability is through the standard insurance, and the short-term rate is increasing from 0.56, 56 cents per $10 of benefit to 74 cents
Wow.
per $10 of benefit. And the LTD rate remained the same at 52 cents. So the quotations from Health Trust, it was the same on the life and accident, and she matched the policies, so it's exactly the same. Policies, exactly the same. Even with the, the 3-day waiting period, that once you go into long-term disability, that the policy waives the premium. So when you have a person on long-term disability, we don't pay the premium, the policy pays that. Also, that if you're anyone on the life insurance, as soon as you reach age 70, the amount of your life insurance benefit is reduced in half. So she matched it up perfectly. And the rates we got for long-term disability is .37, which is very good. And then short-term, I'm sorry, I was going to try and get this more. Tim and I have been pawing through this all afternoon, and Candace finally called us back to confirm, because we wanted to see the actual contract, and they said that they would send that as soon as the board agreed to, to proceed to go forward. But anyway, it's significantly less. Just let me give one more look here.
So this is for long-term and short-term?
Short-term and life and disability.
Life and disability.
Yeah, here's the life and disability. Life and disability is exactly the same. And short-term, again, I apologize, I just, nope, that's fine. Too many quotes.
How's the traffic, John?
Pretty good, it's white.
Can't believe he's driving and,
Thank God it's not Friday night.
that's what,
Won't be.
Finish yet. No traps.
I can call down to Tim, he's got these. The other advantage is that they will pay the employee directly and reimburse the town, so there will be no interruption in payroll deductions for employees like we have now. We're always paying catch-up with the employee while they're out. There will be no interruption in the short-term, in the retirement benefits, which we ran into a little bit of problem, and Tim did try and negotiate with the IRS, but because we had reported part of those third-party payments to retirement, we got zapped with a little penalty. So that eliminates the problems of us misreporting, so that's a big one.
Tried to negotiate with IRS.
Yeah, well,
That's pretty good.
yeah, he's good. So it'll just be better for employees. Also, that when you call the health trust. You don't have to call somebody in either Oregon or in upstate New York. It's just you have a quicker response times in terms of being assigned a claims person. Like the most recent claim that I just filed, I'm still waiting to hear back.
Wow.
So overall, it'll just be better for the town. We do have a 30-day notice period to give the current insurances, and,
So it's your recommendation that we go with Health Trust?
yeah, and Tim's as well. And then when we get at least so we can get the contract and we can look at it. The only question they still haven't answered for me is right now, under our existing policies, the employee does not become eligible for any of those insurances until 30 days after, the first of the month, 30 days after they've been hired. Whereas with our other insurances, it's the first of the month following the date of hire. So I had asked if we could have that be the same, and she wasn't able to give me an answer yet. And I said, well,
If they get hired on the 27th of September, then October 1st, they're,
Yep.
okay.
yeah, and if there's any significant change in the premium, if there's a huge change in the premium, then we'll keep it just the way it is with our existing. So I'd like to have a motion to have me get the agreement from Health Trust for life, accident, short-term, long-term disability, and then I'll wait to notify the other company until the board's actually signed the agreement.
So
So
we're
you're
not,
asking us to make a motion to switch company?
Yes,
Okay.
but you still have a wiggle room if you don't like something that's in the...
in the agreement, that was my
Until we sign
question.
it, we're not.
So even though you're pursuing getting the agreement from them, we're not held to that,
Right.
okay.
Then why do we need a motion?
Because they're not going to go through all of putting together a contract unless we're serious about wanting to change.
I'll make that into a form of a motion.
That we switch to
We'll
Health
switch
Trust.
to Health Trust.
Do I hear a second? I'll second it.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So your almost last comment about the coverage, the space between hiring and the insurance kicking in, we don't know if they're going to cover that, so you could possibly hire an employee and it'd be 30 days before disability insurance kicks in?
No. The benefit, being eligible.
30 days before they get the benefit.
Right, before they get their certificate of coverage saying you now are covered.
Okay, but there's no question, if we hire somebody and then the next day they get hurt, they're covered from the day they're hurt.
They're covered 3 days after the day they're hurt.
Well, but that's,
We have a 3-day waiting period.
that's standard, but I
Right.
mean, not 30, okay.
When they become eligible,
Okay, so the worst-case scenario is if we continue to go with them,
yes,
because you haven't gotten an answer to this yet, is
correct.
there may be a gap for a newly hired person
Right.
Right,
in that 30-day window.
right, which would be what we have right now.
Okay, well, that's not horrendous, okay.
Right.
Thank you, I needed that clarified.
She couldn't answer that question today. And before the meeting is over today, I'll get you the actual rate of the short term.
Any
Also-
more questions on our concerns about the motion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I forgot to add that anybody who is currently on standards, short-term and long-term disability policy will remain on those policies. If for some reason they come off that policy and they happen to be re-injured or become sick again, whether it's the same or different, then they would come back on ours. Okay. This is a request for mileage reimbursement, and I don't have a problem with paying it, but it's not in accordance with our policy, so I'm bringing it to the board's attention.
I didn't hear you, Joyce. What is that?
It's a request for mileage
Oh, okay.
Mileage reimbursement. Do we have any
reimbursement.
minutes? Is that John?
Heather did talk to me about this. One of the things
May
that,
as well.
this is a request for mileage, John, and in our policy for the mileage is that
Yep.
we need to use the town car whenever available. But
Okay.
what Heather has done is scheduled conferences or meetings such that when she goes, it's a shorter distance, either on the way or to, on the way back or to. So it would be more expensive for her to come here, pick the town car up, and then go to wherever she needed to go, which, some of which was out around in the area.
One meeting was in Manchester.
Concord, Manchester,
I found it.
It certainly doesn't make any sense to go from her house
Portsmouth,
to here, to Manchester, back to Manchester, here, back to her house.
right.
Certainly doesn't
Make
make
any
any
sense.
sense for her to go from her house to here back to Portsmouth, then bring the town car
That's what I'm
back
saying,
and
it
go
doesn't make
home.
any sense.
And down there, so, yes,
It'd be silly.
I would agree. I'd say
I make a
pay it.
motion that we accept this mileage
Total will be,
request for reimbursement,
total,
total for $180.32.
second.
Has she been made aware of the policy for the town car?
I
Yes,
have,
and that's
yes.
why she's asking for the exception.
Okay,
And I did speak to her about it.
okay. As long as she's aware.
These are just classes, they're not clients that she would be going here back and forth. They're just,
Does that come out of the welfare budget, or,
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
okay.
General assistance.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do you want us to,
It comes out of the
Initial this?
welfare line of the selectmen's budget.
Okay.
so that's an yes, John?
Yes.
Okay.
the answer to the previous question about elected officials, you're absolutely right. Persons appointed to fill vacancies shall serve until the next annual meeting, at which time a successor shall be elected to fill either the unexpired term or start a new term, as the case may be.
So that would mean that Jules is here till March, and then whatever the remaining term is, it goes up for election for that specific term.
Well, or it could be adjusted because the law wants some members to serve 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year. So if because of these types of things, you have 5 members serving 1-year terms, at that time that they sign up for election, you would adjust it.
Correct. Okay.
I had sent the board on Wednesday that the Cannon Bridge bids, we received 2, came in, and the Northfield Selectmen discussed it at their meeting on Tuesday, and they'd like to know when our board would like to meet with them. They would prefer that it be in the beginning of the week, because one of their selectmen usually leaves on Wednesday for the remainder of the week, so it'd be like either a Monday or a Tuesday night.
I'd like to have an opportunity to review them before we go over there.
Okay. So, do you want to say?
It's going to be next week.
Yep.
They meet on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
I'm not available the 2nd and 4th.
No, thank you.
I'm not available when planning board is. And actually, the road committee will be meeting,
You don't want to meet on Monday?
I'm not sure which.
What'd you say?
Well, they're not going to meet on Monday.
They're going to want to meet on a Tuesday when they meet.
Oh,
In other words, we just got a message that they're not going to be coming here Thursday,
oh,
which is fine.
so you want to meet on, what days can't you meet, Catherine?
The road committee is, I haven't gotten an email from the chairman when they're meeting, but it's going to be on Tuesday night, the night that planning board doesn't meet.
So they meet on the 9th, second Tuesday of the month, right?
2nd and the 4th.
So that'd be the 9th, so you want to meet on the 2nd?
I don't know.
Tuesday the 2nd.
Why don't we wait until next week to reply? Is that all right? John, do you mind if we wait until next week to reply to them?
No problem. Well, next week, meaning Thanksgiving, or?
Oh, all right, the week after.
Week after's the 2nd.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till the,
So, well, you're not meeting, yeah, you're meeting on December 4th,
4th.
so
It'll
that,
have to be after the 4th.
so I'll tell him that the board will get back to him after December 4th.
So you're looking at the 16th or the 30th? Depending on when your road committee meets.
Well, we should look at these. We should have an opportunity to talk about them, and then go over and talk to them about it. I think.
Makes sense.
All right, when did the board want to schedule time to talk about them? Because I'm sure Dennis would want to be here.
Yep. Why don't we do it on the 4th?
Say it a little louder, you sound like Santa Claus.
Ho, ho, ho. Let's do it on the 4th.
Okay,
What, on the 4th?
to meet with Dennis to go over the bids.
And all the selectmen, the rest of us to talk about it.
Oh, the 4th of December?
All the quantities and the prices of...
I don't have anything. Anybody have anything?
Yeah, I sent it all, it's all in your Thrives.
Oh. The only time I open those is to take minutes at park commissioner meetings and a selectmen meeting.
Keep in mind that we have, December 4th, we have budget. We have to include in a chunk for budget on December 4th if we're going to talk about the bids. You mean,
I don't care if we do it the next week.
we're going to
Is
present
there
to
anything
them.
to be in a hurry about?
I don't think so.
And December 4th would have to be before 7 o'clock because they have a budget meeting.
Did they make any decisions over there yet on budgets and who's getting what for outside agencies?
Staff report.
Cannon Bridge.
So, I mean, we're going to present to the Budget Committee on December 17th. I'm just cautioning you on the 4th and the 11th, it's going to be a push to get everything done
Yep.
for the 17th. It's, you know, I get that those are the 2 weeks where we are starting early. We can,
Well,
you know,
if we don't have to be in a hurry
if
to look
it's,
at those.
it's not earth-shattering, let's push it out to the 18th and maybe go to them on the 30th.
Of December.
So it's in here somewhere.
30th? It's right, it's
So I'll have to double check with,
If it's, I mean, if
What does
it's,
the contract say?
do we have to make a decision before then, or?
I don't believe so. I don't have the contract. The contract would be in the,
So if it's in here, in the drive, into the dashboard,
it's in the dashboard, and it's under projects.
going with all the bids. I got it right here.
Cannon Bridge rehabilitation,
Yeah, and then if you sort and look for the most recent dates, there should be 3 documents, each bid, and then the
Bridge
spread,
estimate.
and the spreadsheet that compares them.
I don't remember from the joint meeting we had when they decided to put in the RFP when they were going to award the bid. Or did they?
Did they put in there when they were awarding the
They
bid?
did.
They did not, right?
I don't think so, no. No.
And when did they have a project start date?
In the spring of
Spring of
2015, yeah.
So we probably have.
Yeah, and to be completed by,
Middle,
well, we talked about even into November, but hopefully October. I guess it would just,
At our meeting that we said that to leave it open to the fall.
for completion, yes.
No, for a start date.
Start date.
A start date in the fall. Well,
That's what we just,
can I look at your Thrive and I'll see what the
Most of these guys
RFP.
already have their projects lined up for at least almost a year. But if they've got 2 bids, that's,
yeah, that's all it was, is 2 bids, Everox and Pipers.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, Everox promised to meet, send a bid. When we have time, right? Sounds like we have time to push it off a couple weeks.
I would think we would.
I do too.
You're surely not going to start now.
Did you let the record know that John's here? Okay.
okay. Do you want me to stop so we can,
No, they're 4:45.
oh, they're 4:45? Okay.
Sorry. She's almost done.
Okay, and at 6, we have our thing. I can hold off on that. On the Manville Road survey, I got 2 written estimates, one from Brian Bailey and another one from T.F. Bernier. And I spoke with Dave Krause. He didn't have time to put anything in writing to the board, but he said that he had suggested that we get in touch with a Kevin McKinney, who's a licensed land surveyor out of Dover. There is a plan on file at the registry that he did in 2002 on Manville Road. I guess he was the person that did all the plans for the
3M.
for 3M. And he had looked at it, he said there's some pretty good detail on that. The other thing he's...
3M hired him to
Yep.
do some work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said he'll gladly go do whatever you want, but he just suggested that we look at that. And also, he said that with any time that you're installing a catch basin or putting in a culvert, you have to file a permit by notification with DES. And normally, you just have to draw a sketch, But if you're going to be moving water from one location to another location, you may have to do the minimum expedited plan, so you'd need more than just having your boundaries.
Well, I'm thinking,
Surveyed.
at this point, though, we're looking just for the
Yeah,
boundaries.
we just want to know where our
just wanna-
boundaries are.
No, I told him that.
And I'd rather have someone actually give us that information, not look at something and say, well, it's close enough.
Yeah, no, we
I
need to
want
know
some-
where
I
our
want it
boundaries are.
Identified.
Been too many
and given to
questions.
us. That way, we're not sending a question.
Yep.
Well, he said to research it and stake it out would be $1,300. And then the other two are written estimates, which I haven't looked at yet, so.
He was just asking why we were staking it, and what the intent was.
What were the other two estimates?
This is,
That first one was for the guy that did it before 3M in 2002.
yeah. Oh, we didn't bid him, he
He
did.
didn't do it for,
He didn't do
but
it.
he's done work for the town.
The 1,300 is Dave Crosby's, right?
Yep. His isn't in writing. And Bernier's is on the Thrive. I sent that, put that on the Thrive.
Is that in the garage place?
I don't know, let me go look and see.
Is that by email? Joyce?
Well, Bailey's is, grand total is $4,395, but this also
I'm
includes
sorry, what was it?
$4,395, but it includes
Review.
GPS, recon, boundary, topography, drive time, data reduction, GPS post-process, site plan, miscellaneous, these are ours, town startup, $150 for DES subdivision fee, and the DES septic, $150, and then registry copies, material expenses, $25, $279.15, for a grand total of $4,395.
Why do we have DES septic?
No idea.
What to do with it? Did we write an RFP for this?
No, I can tell you what I asked them to do.
So that, for the director, it's $1,350. For the president, it's $360. For the staff engineer, it's $260. For the two-man crew, it's $2,025.
I think I've heard enough.
That's to do the whole town, right? Just saying. I'm curious.
With any culverts installed and road repaving.
Where's the other estimate?
I'm getting it right now.
Okay.
It's 2,200.
Who's that
From
one?
4,395 to 2,200.
Bernier?
For 1,300.
13, yeah.
I can't,
Davis, 13.
no,
Oh, yeah, see, all we wanted them to do is
Stake
locate
the
our
boundary out.
boundaries. This is
So
saying,
what?
this is giving them too much information.
We don't, all we want to know is the bounds are.
Yeah, we just want to know the boundaries.
That's it. Plain and simple.
Too much information, that's the problem.
I'm not looking to move culverts, I'm not looking
Yeah,
to
just the boundary.
play the game. I'm just looking for boundaries.
Where's our property? Because it's not a right-of-way. They understand this is land that we own, correct?
yeah, I'll tell you exactly what
I've got it.
We got it right here.
Okay, no, you've got, the selectmen would like to have an estimate on locating the town's right-of-way. It's not a right-of-way. We own the property. There's a difference. We have a deed to that property.
No, we had to give away our second
Right, but
one
what
to
I
get
had
that done.
sent as an attachment was the map that I reviewed with Dennis and highlighted the area of where we wanted the boundaries.
Yeah, but they based it on, what you said in your letter, though.
This email says we're looking for the town's right-of-way. Hi, Mr. Bailey.
Where would we take that out?
Did you talk to all three of them, or just, because I told them to call you, you talked to Dave and Tim Bernier, or who did you talk with? Did you speak with any of them? Did any of them contact you?
They asked me,
An as-built physical evidence survey to reconstruct and identify the limits of the right-of-way for Manville Road.
They were sent a copy of the deed. The sketch that you had given me, our tax map, and the highlighted area of just the area that we needed to have the bounds
right,
defined.
That's all we want.
And that's all I asked for.
But this fellow's looking for right-of-way.
Well, that man never spoke to me.
No,
He
but your-
never spoke to
Your
Dennis.
email said.
Yeah, but if you looked at what I had attached to it,
It's not here. Well, what he submitted is right-of-way work. A sketch plan of the work area, we don't need that.
I make a motion, we go with Dave Krause for $1,300.
I'll second that.
I make a motion, we have a conversation with Dave Krause before he does the work. How's that? I'm a little concerned now after looking at that.
I'll amend my motion,
I think.
that, make a motion, we go with Dave Krause for $1,300, with the consideration that he speak with Catherine before he goes out there.
I'll second that.
And that's Catherine Dawson, not Wozner.
Thank you.
I'm glad to talk to him.
See, this still says right away.
Yeah.
That's 4 points we're looking
We
for.
looked into the right-of-way location of Manville Road. All right.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Now, is everybody in agreement? We're just looking for the
boundaries
boundaries
only.
of the property we own.
Right.
That's
That's
all we
it.
want.
I've
And
said
we
that a
want
couple
them
times.
to-
I bet we are.
Physically stake.
And we
mark
want them to put markers in,
Yeah.
stake them.
Yep. Can you make sure that Dave talks to Catherine first? Or us, and we can get updated?
We'll run about it now.
Do you have that other one that I gave you? Did that come back to me?
No.
The Bailey one?
Oh, no, that went that way. I put it over there.
Oh, yep, I got it. Okay. In the non-public, we'll talk about hiring,
Yes?
and that's the grant. Did you want to talk about this Tilton School assessments now?
No, we'll do it after
Okay.
Dennis.
Okay, one of the things I had sent out to the board is a request. From time to time, the Land Use Office, both Al and Dari, receive requests from mortgage companies and banks, and I can give you some samples. I guess not. I didn't copy these. I'm sorry.
Do we need copies?
That's included in the email.
What is it?
Yeah.
I saw it.
This is having the board establish a fee for when a mortgage company or a bank or real estate company is requesting information from the land use office. Companies are paid to do this research, and all of our records, it's our responsibility to make the records available to the public so that they can come in. We're doing the best we can to have everything scanned and available online so people don't have to, but then they send these requests. This is a 4-page one. It takes a lot of time to research.
It's above and beyond the job that's supposed to be done in that office.
Yes.
Helping with the local people, doing the little things, fine. Helping with corporations, dig up mass amounts of information, is going above and beyond the scope of the work.
That they sell for profit.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I'm in favor of that.
So am I.
This is a self-serve type thing, and
Right, if they want to
self-serve,
call
and they
and get the
need somebody to do
information,
the work for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
But your recommendation was
25 to 50.
right there.
A minimum of 50.
Potential range of 25 to 50. This particular company that had requested this information said, if your fees exceed $100, let me know.
Well, that just changed my mind. $100. Seriously. There's a lot of intense work. There could be a couple days' worth of work down there to do the research that these people want. That's not just like an hour or two.
What kind of information are they asking for, Joyce? Are they looking for deeds? Are they looking for cards?
Any information we can give them on the property, which if they were to come in and look through the property record card, they could.
We'll have to go
So
downstairs.
here's some question. Is the subject property part of a planned unit development? Is the subject property part of an overlay district? Is the subject property is currently regulated by zoning ordinance, planned unit development ordinance, site plan, case number? According to the zoning
Okay.
ordinance, the regulation for this district, use of the subject property is a permitted use by right, permitted use by special use permit, copy attached, copy
It's
not
exceeded
available.
$100 in my mind already.
The subject was developed in accordance with current zoning, legal conforming, non-conforming, this
I make
is
a motion, we
nuts.
charge $100 minimum towards the research
Wow.
for corporations.
This is
Yeah, that would take
that's the property that they're,
quite a while to do his regular
Should it
work.
be something like $100 for a set number of hours of work and X number of dollars for every hour after that?
How are you going to regulate this? I mean, where's the cutoff? Where's the boundary? Where's the
That's why I say
delineation?
$100 for the corporation research.
Well,
I
you
don't know
can't
if
say
you can do
corporation
corporation.
because you're going to say research person that's asking the information, because it could be a real estate,
Yes,
which
like-
isn't a corporation.
right, like real estate companies will call. We have them trained here. They don't call anymore. And they'll ask all the questions,
Say commercial.
Commercial.
Okay.
commercial.
Revise to commercial.
You know what it is? It's non-resident requests,
Exactly.
or non-property owner, non-taxpayer requests. That's what it is. It's non-taxpayer.
Well, the taxpayers,
I just
Ultimately
think
paying
there should
for
be a set fee for a set number of hours, and if you go over that number of hours, we should start charging more, because I'm looking at this one, that is pretty
Yeah, it's
Okay.
intense.
free.
Yeah.
And then they'll have more questions they'll call about. So,
see, normally a company like that, what they should have done is hired someone local to come in
Right.
and look through everything. And we charge for copies, and if they need a letter saying, yeah, this parcel, which we've done for residents, to get their mortgage, yep, this property meets everything, that we don't charge for that. I would, gladly do that for any resident. It's not that often that this comes in.
So we
like
have a
this.
motion on the table. The motion says a minimum of $100 to non-residential entities.
Well, you should say commercial, because a property owner could be non-resident.
Commercial entities, right?
Yes.
Was it seconded?
Second.
So for now, it's a flat fee?
We can go with the flat fee, see how it works. If it is not working in the favor that we think it's going to work in, we can change it.
Let's ask Dari to work with it, and then recommend if we need to, as John
If it
said,
needs to get more,
look
then
at
we'll...
additional hours.
See how many hours it takes them to do this?
Well, it says minimum.
And then if we get another request, start keeping records of it, and then come back to us and say, you know what, we get one request a year, or we get 30 requests a year, and it's not worth our time for $100. All right? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Are we going to be doing trash ordinance tonight?
It depends what time we get
Okay, so I'll bypass that.
through the budget process.
Bypass that. That's my legal stuff, okay. 911, since I've been here in August of 2007, every year in the land use office, we take a stab at and try to renumber Main Street. Main Street never was renumbered as part of the
Main Street's a joke.
911. And 911 is coming down on us now.
Yeah,
They're what?
They really want to get the streets, the buildings renumbered,
Who's coming down on you?
E911. But we have an ordinance. It's the selectmen's responsibility. So E911 has made some recommendations, and we can sit down with the fire department. Right now, when there's an address needs to be assigned, we go by our ordinance, we go by our listing of what's the last address that had been assigned, and we get it approved with the fire department to make sure that it's correct, so everybody knows. Sometimes they make suggestions, say, no, it'd be better to number this unit 1 or whatever. So before we proceed any further, if selectmen would like to participate, the representative, I believe her name is Jeannie, will sit down with Dari. Dari is the designated E911 person, I'm the backup. And that we would meet with the fire department, them, and if any selectmen members would like, come back with a recommendation on how they will be renumbered, and then they will help us
Is the
notify.
ultimate authority to change these numbers ours?
Yes, you have the final say,
All right.
and your ordinance gives you that.
What you gave us, is this the current numbering? Is currently how they're numbered?
That's currently how they're numbered.
Is there a
And
guideline from them that they use on numbering? Do they
Yes.
number each building, and then each door gets like a letter, or do they number each door?
it's in our ordinance,
It's in our
ordinance.
But is our ordinance according to what they would like us
Yes,
to do?
yes. Remember, when Sandy pulled this together, she had the fire department review it, and they made some changes, and we had a hearing, and the board adopted it in 2012.
I'm not talking about the fire district. I'm talking about 911.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
This is national guidelines.
okay. But this is what they're recommending, so before we go any further, we have to have a meeting. So...
When is the
any-
meeting? Is the meeting going to be during the day?
Most
meeting-
likely, since
Most
these are...
likely.
Mhm.
And it will be comprised of
Land use,
land use, selectmen,
myself,
selectmen.
the fire department, and E911, and any selectmen that can attend.
I would be interested in if it fits within my
Mm-hmm.
schedule of meetings.
Because I've been told that the reason that they haven't changed is because of certain property owners were objecting. They didn't want to go through the cost and the inconvenience of having to change.
I don't blame them.
But it's
Quite a
state law.
cost It's quite a cost as a resident going through.
Right, so I don't know why they didn't do this back when everybody else had to.
Because they didn't want to.
Particularly
They did
on
not
new
want to.
businesses that just came in, that are just getting off the ground. Now they got to change all their cards and emails and everything.
We're looking at the numbering ordinance, and under the numbering system shall, it says all primary buildings on the left side of the street shall have even numbers, and primary buildings on the right side of the street shall have odd numbers. Which direction are you traveling?
So Polly's side is,
But if you're heading from,
you're the west or east?
Thank you, Joyce.
but you're right,
Yeah, I mean,
so we need to do that probably
you need to correct something, you're either gonna be headed east, you're gonna be headed west, and left or
Well,
right.
I think for us is after you get off Main Street, on the south side, are those the odds or evens? Or is the north odds or evens? And then be consistent all the way through.
Define Main Street.
Main Street?
Yep.
Well,
Railroad to railroad.
on the tax card, it's railroad to railroad.
Is it now?
And then it becomes west and east. And then it becomes Laconia Road.
So if you're heading east on Main Street, I'm on the right side of the road, and I have an even number. If you're heading west, it would be the other way, but we didn't define that.
North side of the road is even because it's almost there.
Right now, they exist, they're even,
Are you odd or even?
I'm even.
but you're beyond the railroad
You're on the south side of the
track.
road and you're even? I'm on the north side of the road and I'm even.
But
How
you're,
does that make sense? I'm on the opposite side of the road. I'm 416, that's even. Oops,
All right.
that's not gonna
We're
work.
gonna have to figure this.
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll beat
Well-
this to death.
this is a state E911. Please tell me when the state's ever been perfect.
I'll figure that.
Okay, we're moving right along
Let's
here.
do it.
Okay, so do you want to proceed, and can a member of the board
Yep.
participate? Because
More than one member of the board can participate.
because we need to sit down and talk about each of her
Just let us know
recommendations.
when the meeting is,
It is.
and whomever can attend at that time will attend, okay? Because I think that's important to all of us to understand it, and it's not just one of us, but it's all of us that it's going to hit when people start calling us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, as I said in my email, it's about safety and for emergency services to arrive at the building.
That it? It is?
Yeah, we have the hearing, we have trash ordinance, we have Tilton School,
Okay.
and I've got some things under legal. I've got the hiring, and this one I need to talk with the board about, but I can do this in
Non-public.
non-public. Okay.
Right.
Excuse me. Yeah, because it's under,
Adverse effects, okay. I, at this time, would like to make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, personnel. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes. Did everybody get?
which is directly proportional to my weight,
You're right.
so I'm like totally incentivized to, I gotta lose.
I have very low blood pressure.
I normally do too,
No.
but this is the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And my bottom number is like
Tomorrow you can tell the guys.
bad.
So we should make an announcement on the personal action report.
We did it last week.
Did we?
I thought we did.
Yeah, we made a motion. Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public, which they pertain to personnel permanently.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, it is that time of the evening where it's budget, 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 budget.
Is Tim coming up?
We have a public hearing at 6, don't we?
Oh, I will open
That's just the
the,
thing.
where's the,
Open the public
where is the,
You just had it there in your hand. So just open it and take comment.
in accordance with RSA 31:95B appropriations for funds made available during the year, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on acceptance of $42,000 grant from the Capital Regional Development Council Brownsfield Cleanup Revitalization Program. The funds will be used to complete the cleanup of the former Ernie's Auto Site located at 180 East Main Street, Tilton, tax map lot U04-71. The site will be developed as a waterfront conservation area In continuation of the Winnipesaukee River Multipurpose Trail Alternate Transportation and Recreation, connecting the communities of Tilton, Northfield, and Franklin. Copies of the grant application and sub-agreement are available at Town Hall website and for review at Town Clerk Office from 8:30 to 4:15. We will now open the public hearing for the acceptance of a grant, $42,000 grant from the Capital Regional Development Council. It's open.
Joyce, I'm going to need a public hearing next, Thursday on the what? 4th?
4th.
I'm sorry, say,
I'll have to have a public hearing on the 4th so the Parks Commissioner can accept
okay,
gifts and grants.
okay.
Do I have to hold it open for a specific amount of time?
Just don't forget to close.
Just don't forget to vote after you close it.
All right, we have the Parks Commission and we have Conservation. Who wants to go first?
Do we have a copy of their budget?
No, I'm assuming you're bringing copies, right?
On
Do
down.
you have copies or do you need me to make them?
Nope, these are copies.
I can make them.
Well, that's okay. The one I'm giving you is the same as, that's 2014, but it's the same as 2015. There is no change.
Oh, that's simple.
You have one for Joyce?
Yeah, I don't have one.
Oh, we'll give one to Joyce.
emailed it, didn't you?
Joyce has received a copy earlier.
Oh, yes, that's right, that's right. I do.
What I added at the bottom of this one is, I'm assuming you've all probably know what the balance sheet is. If not, there's a copy here you could probably pass around. Right now, there's $772.88 of unexpended funds, which is noted at the bottom of the 2014 budget. The stipends that will be still coming out of that current budget would be $2,400, is noted at the bottom. There's also $500 for the snow fencing for Salmon Run, and another $150 towards secretarial services, which would leave a balance of $1,700 and some odd dollars. And I am proposing at our next Conservation Commission meeting in December that we allocate $1,700 out of that balance toward the contract with Belknap Landscaping for Salmon Run.
Have you accepted the contract?
Yes. The commission did vote for that this past Monday night.
Which will leave you with a balance of $22.88.
Sign the contract?
We haven't signed it yet. I am going to, I've notified them that we voted to accept that. The owner, Hayden, wants to meet on the property sometime within the next week or so to go over and just review a few things. Then he will prepare something that can be signed. We had talked at one point about the possibility of encumbering some funds toward this for next year. We figure it would probably be just as easy to apply this toward the contract now. In my brief conversation and email exchange with Belknap Landscaping, they hope to coordinate this at the same time that they finish off the project on the abutting property on Ernie's and Salmon Run East.
So he's going to do this at the same time he's doing Ernie's? So there won't be an additional charge?
In conjunction for having to haul in equipment and things.
So they'll bring all this stuff there once?
Just go around reasonable price.
No more mobilization cost, or no additional.
No, and it was the most inclusive bid that we received.
They, just as, for your information, they are planning on going in and doing some grading on the property because so that it would, once the loam is spread, it's not just going to be as it is right now, but would be properly graded for runoff. And also, they're going to loosen the surface, and they're going to remove, there are some patches in there with some asphalt and concrete that were dumped in there in the past, and they're going to remove those. And then they're going to loosen the soil, or the compacted materials that are in there now, so that that would blend in with the soil once they spread it out. Otherwise, it would be almost like putting 4 inches of loam on top of asphalt, and expecting it to grow.
You can do all that.
Yeah, no, they're doing a very comprehensive project, and then they'll be overseeding it with low-seeding grasses, and they've offered us a 1-year warranty on that.
He can give you a warranty,
Yeah?
1 year.
Yeah.
Not 30 feet or 30 seconds. That's a bonus.
It was very comprehensive, that's,
How come I didn't get the same thing?
Because you handed me that one.
So this isn't your 2015 budget, this is your request to encumber money?
well, the budget at the top is the same for 2015. We submitted the same budget.
It's the same budget, so my
Same
question is, why do we have 8 stipends? Is that 7 members and 1 alternate?
We have 2 alternates. One of the alternates this year did not attend any meetings. And the current budget, by the way, if you were to look up on on this sheet here, there was Mr. Hardy's stipend for last year somehow or other got deferred to this year.
Excuse me? What happened?
Mr. Hardy's stipend for the 2013 year actually was paid in January.
Oh, I thought you were telling me it didn't get paid at all.
No,
I was like,
no,
how
it
did we
did.
do that?
It did. It got paid on, might help to read this right side up.
Pretty straightforward.
Do you currently have that second
No.
alternate?
Yes.
Okay, so you have 7 and 2 currently?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, with Suki Clark. She's been with us for, I don't know, over 10 years.
Okay, so on the budget,
Yep.
the secretary's salary, what are you proposing to go up?
Well, I contacted Joyce sometime during the past fall.
I remember.
And we were asking to have that looked at, and if there were going to be some increases coming to other secretarial staff, that we would see ask that she get one also.
We haven't talked about that.
We haven't done anything to any of the others. What is the current?
Not the same. We have an anomaly with that, remember?
Yep. What is the current rate right now?
Well,
I'm
they're two different rates.
sending the board an email, because we had worked that up before, so I'll send it to you.
But
It's 2108.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But that's not what happens with one of them.
Right.
But I guess that's out of our control. So we should only look at the 2108? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's not something I want to discuss in public.
The last increase was in
But it's a done deal,
2009.
it's public.
It is.
Well, it's what they get paid.
Yeah, their published rate is,
Right, but I don't think
You don't
the breakdown is,
I'm not sure that would have a significant impact on this budget.
The only other one is that does secretarial is part of their position, which would be Dari and Catherine. And the other one is budget. And budget is based on the person's salary. So,
When I looked at what the, if you totaled up on this what I'm looking at here, under the payroll amounts minus the 300 at the top, I believe it comes out to a figure less than what's in here right now for the current year. So I'm thinking that what's proposed in the budget of the $1,600 amount would probably cover what that would be.
Did you have a figure like,
Well, 2.5% raise, right? There's a general cost of living adjustment, and it has been since 2009.
July 1st of 2009.
where's your email, Joyce? I don't see it other than a,
Oh, I'm sorry,
The one that made me very happy?
yeah.
I'm almost beside myself with joy.
okay, this is with the 2.5%.
She's referring to New Hampshire DOT Commissioner Clements resigned.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Did you know that?
I'm very sad.
Yeah.
Me too.
I wish him well.
Ditto.
What do you think?
Anybody have a calculator?
Yep, right here.
Got one on your,
2.5% of 2108.
So that's why.
I just sent that
Well,
back.
you got it. See, I said it out loud.
Taking into consideration, she hasn't had an increase since 2009.
We would hope that the selectmen would look at that.
Okay.
I think we're dwelling on this entirely too much.
I mean, if you're looking at like a 20, going from 2108 to $23 an hour, that makes sense. This is not a full-time employee, there's no benefits attached, this is an individual best.
No, we did not.
What is it, Dari? Is Dari 22 or 21?
So if you look at it like 50 cents a year, and we're behind 4.5 years, where some were asking for around $23.50 an hour.
I have no
That
problem
changed
with
from
that.
$23.50 an hour. If we want to get caught up from 2009. And again, not a full-time employee, there's no benefits attached.
Yeah, this is strictly a very small part-time position where
So
It's
there's
not-
no other financial consequences to the town with regard to long-term other costs.
I don't say we're obligated to do it.
We're just trying to maintain someone who has provided that level of support and experience for all these years without.
that's because they subsidize,
Understandable.
right?
And in fact, we're asking, the
We do
person's
that,
not asking,
then
we're trying to
you're
recognize their
getting
work.
this more than this.
And we should recognize their work.
That's the problem.
Yes, but this gets benefits. This gets this gets...
Not currently.
This one?
Right.
He gets benefit,
No, not
No.
currently.
Nope.
No.
he gets vacation.
Part of his requirement right now.
It's vacation time.
Oh, we were talking about that, yeah. I get what I get what you're doing. I'm trying to be fair and equitable.
I don't think it's something that we can work out tonight.
I don't think it's apples to apples.
Well,
I don't think it's apples to apples, and that's what's so convoluted about it.
Well, yeah,
Because we tried one year, I think it was last year, that we tried to be consistent across the board and figure out where it's at. And we have one that's subsidized by another agency, or another unit.
Governing body within the
Governing
town.
body, and that within the town of Tilton, which makes it a little bit difficult because it's here and we're here. So there's no question that this person deserves it. That's not the issue. The issue is trying to figure out where's the middle here, where we shoot at. So give us some time on.
It's not apples to apples.
Okay.
You're looking at the comparison and certainly appreciating what you're sharing this person. We have a meager line of $1,600 for,
If we, how many hours usually does she work? What, on average monthly?
Well, I'd have to take a look at what's been paid so far and anticipated to be paid and try to divide that out by the
Your
hourly
meetings are
rate.
usually, what, an hour
I
and a
mean,
half, 2 hours?
I sign the sheets, but I don't have a full recollection right now what I turn over to Joyce or what she turns over to Joyce.
Can we have some time on this and,
Yeah.
this will have to be discussed in non-public because we can, it's personnel, obviously, but wages. I hear what you're trying to say. I think we're trying to do the same thing, but I think we're trying to figure out what the end figure should be.
yeah, no, I handle these kind of things all the time. So if it would be more helpful, since this person is really not comparable to the other people, we can look at what the average number of hours are through the course of the year.
Well, that's why I asked you, because if you look at the
Is that
average
the
hour...
budget sheet right there? The expenses? No, I just had it.
I just gave it back to you. So
Let me just add them.
if
This one?
that's why I asked you, because if in fact we go to what you're suggesting, do you have enough in there for $1,600 to accommodate that?
And then we'd have to adjust that.
Right, that's why I'm saying that.
Is your $600 for mowing at Salmon Run a guess?
Do you have an idea, Tim?
You've got it highlighted.
It up right now.
Okay.
Well, we've had an individual volunteer. It's if that person is able to volunteer their time, it is currently a guesstimate.
We had, we're planning that regardless of the concept of having low-growing grasses in there, that what we know has happened and popped up in there before with weeds and everything else, we're thinking if we could pay to have that mowed at least 3 or 4 times during the season, that's all. We just wanted to make sure that we had funds in the budget to cover that.
Oh, Chairman of the Park Commissioners, what do we currently pay for one mowing?
Well, each one's different.
Riverfront.
If this is correct,
150? No.
60.
this one, and this one, and gee, this
Don't we have 2 mowers? Do we not have 2 zero mowers?
Oh, we have tons of mowers, so that's what
Why are
I'm
we
saying.
paying so much?
Well, I'm just looking at this, he said 3 times a year, that's plenty of money if the
Roughly
volunteer
$1,000.
doesn't work, the Public Works can do whatever's need to be done.
Oh, we have one now. Oh, we have one, the Parks Commission has one.
So far in 2014, Eliza has worked
call it
39
50
hours for conservation hours,
39?
39, and in 2013, it was 29 and a quarter.
So if you were looking at 50 times 20, 50, it was at 50 times 2350.
So a couple of,
Just came up
so
with the average hours in the
Tim's
last few
estimated,
years, 29.
Chuck, Tim looked it up, and she's worked 39 to date.
39?
2014, 39.
We estimated she'd work 50 hours by the end of the year.
And then in 2013, she's worked 29 and a quarter. So you're estimating about 50?
Right, because of the different special projects. So what we just figured out is that changing the rate to the 2350 still keeps within the budget line of 1,600. So we'd be all set without adjusting the budget.
Have they ever overexpended that line?
No,
Multiple.
no. We've had a pretty consistent budget.
I think your 600 is more than enough. If your
Oh, for the mow.
volunteer fails to mow, the Public Works can mow, so.
We have to have the details in front of this, though, first. We have to
I
have,
think this year, the
What
idea of
this
not
is gonna end up
charging for it
being.
was so that we could get matching funds
23,
to go
so
for the
it's
Ernie's grant, so it
We
was
haven't accepted.
volunteered to do it,
make a motion.
so that we'd actually get
Do that
double our
first.
value.
Make a motion to accept that?
So you're comfortable with this?
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I don't have anything.
You do.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
He was texting me.
There it is. Oops. That's not, is that true? Absolutely? Damn, what? All right.
That's not the actual.
I don't think it is either.
No, I know it's not. But we'll have to discuss that in a non-public.
Budget, okay. All right, yeah, okay.
Can we answer any other questions for you?
I think it's really the secretary's salary, and Joanna's being paid her sewer rate, and she isn't. I think we're going to discuss that at a later time. Is that what the board's consensus is? And
I
then-
mean, we can approve the 6,500 right now, and if, as we talked about this later, we can increase this to accommodate whatever we do with that.
It's not, because if you take what they're saying, 2350 times
50 hours.
50, it's 1175.
Well under that.
Okay, but does that include our portion of FICA and all of that happy, wonderful stuff that we?
Yeah.
Okay, he's shaking his head, yes. All right, so good, 6,500 is going to make a motion, we accept the Conservation Commission's portion of our budget is $6,500.
Second.
For discussion, and that's without making a decision on the secretary's salary, right? We'll make that at a later time.
Who hires?
The selectmen have the hiring authority in this town.
Come to my town.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I never want to be in your town. Thank you. Because I know who's there, and you can have it. Yeah.
I'll come to your town.
All right, any more discussion on it?
No.
You would say no anyway, because it's conservation. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, and we'll discuss the personnel issue at a later time. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Now, when you meet on the third Monday next month?
Yes, the 15th.
That's the 15th.
That's the 15th.
Okay.
December.
So you need to get to us pronto your contract that encumbers it on, so we can make that motion, all right?
So when I get a copy of the contract, I will make sure that...
So we could do it that same week.
I need a
Okay.
copy of that.
All right.
Do you have an extra copy of that?
I'll make you a copy.
That one? I'll make it,
I got you.
because I have this, and it's not the same as yours.
Oh, you don't have all this on the bottom?
Right.
Oh, well, we got multiple copies of that, so be glad to
This-
see.
I got one, Al. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. So, Bob, you're next. Denied.
Denied.
No, yeah. You just can't
Oh,
do
no,
Christmas.
we're just practicing for when Ryan comes up. Just saying. Okay.
Catherine,
You need more, Catherine?
I'll get some. I told you to do that.
I know you did. Joyce made some downstairs for me.
Do you have trees, too? I mean wreaths?
I would make the copies for him.
Am I getting a copy of that thing?
Usually he does it at home and uses his own ink.
What?
Am I getting a copy of that budget?
Which one's this?
Clerks. Oh, I
Thank you.
sent you down there.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you
Yeah.
forgot.
It's just the way it's...
No, I didn't.
You know what?
Thank you.
It's okay.
Remember I said to you a couple weeks ago?
I know.
Ditto.
Is this what we asked? Is this what we asked? 7? The same size?
And 2 additional, is this the,
We-
Five.
excuse me, Bob?
The 7 was 5 for the town hall that we had last year, and 2 for in front of the island,
The railings.
the railings. You had one on each side of the railings.
Okay.
No, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm looking at the budget.
Well, I just wanted a lighter view first. Make a motion, we buy wreaths at $196 from Bob Hardy for Christmas.
Hardy's Greenhouse.
Hardy's Greenhouse, I'm sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, no discussion.
Moving right along. Halbert, moving right along.
Yeah, go on.
There we go.
The
Okay.
railings are all stripped and done, they did that?
Yes.
I noticed it looked good, I didn't know.
Proposed
And
budget.
they had to come back and touch it up. Remember? At the Riverfront
Yeah,
Park?
but they were all done.
Right, but I mean, I called them and they came and there was no problem, no question. Yeah, I'll be there next week. Boom, done.
You get the paint, get the brush.
Excellent.
Okay. Landscaping. Why are we going up $1,000 for landscaping? What's added?
The 2013 was an estimate. We went out to bid afterwards.
Yeah.
And the 2014, that should actually be 2015 proposed.
I was just gonna ask you that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It was
So
2015?
the 13 should be 14?
Yes,
The 14 should be a 5.
Yes.
the 2015 is the actual contract that we're in for this year and next year. They agreed to,
And it's 6,000?
yes.
For Riverfront Park.
It's just Riverfront, or is it in
The
between?
6,000 is
Broke
just,
it down.
we
for
broke
parks
everything
so that
down
people
by
could see.
park, so you can see the cost by each park. Buffalo is 500. Civil War is 19. 132 is 3,000.
Are we ever going to get back to getting it done by the town? That's my question.
I don't know.
The town can't do
All of
everything.
I know they can't do fertilizer, I understand that. You'd have to do that. But mowing and picking up leaves, they can't do that?
Every time we've had them do it, Pat, they've never done it
Good enough.
good enough.
All right.
Well, it wasn't good enough. In this contract, there's a requirement for so many times a week, and that wouldn't get done. It would be skipped for days, and you'd have, this shaggy-looking lawn because they were painting cemetery railings. In other words, the parks didn't take precedent.
Right.
And then they'd go back and, so it was hit or miss.
All right.
Well, let's work on that problem. Next.
Because it would be a lot cheaper. Okay. So everything else, except landscaping, is the biggest total increase.
Correct.
So everything on here is on contract, correct?
Well,
Contractor,
the porta potties and the landscaping.
Right.
right. And then you have your electric, your sewer, your water.
Which is,
I guess could say contracted
Yeah.
too.
no, there's not much you can do about it, but.
Right.
Bob, on the security repairs, is that for the cameras and stuff?
Yes.
Now, we did some major replacement this year. Why would it not be the same next year for that?
If you're talking down at the bottom, the security in all parks, we
Oh, wait, I didn't see that. Maybe.
took the 132 ball field out and put it down under commission's cost. And that gave us a little flexibility to go. Riverfront, we're just figuring, it seems like every year we're getting repairs down there. One thing or another, and talking with ourselves and Tim, it was recommended that we keep the in there for Riverfront, and if it works out that we don't have the repairs, we can use that money to upgrade cameras. We're still working off of cameras from the original installation, and we'd like to go to,
Oh, yeah, so you did the recording unit and all that.
right.
But they're-
We cleaned the
other one-
cameras, but we didn't replace the cameras. They're still, is it analog, Tim?
They're analog, and we have the opportunity with this new DVR to be able to install Ethernet cameras, which the Ethernet cameras have much greater resolution. They have the ability to capture much more, not only resolution, but a field of vision where you can zoom in with clarity to see something, see a face, that sort of thing. So,
What's the cost of that
those cameras are more expensive than the analog cameras, but there's a lot more you can capture with them.
I like the lot more you can capture with it because we're always having vandalism over there and damage, and I think that it's time that we step that up over there. That's my opinion. I don't know about the rest of the board, but I'm not one for spending money, but we need something over at Riverfront, and I think Bob can agree that our patrolmen are over there more than what we can after hours. What would be the cost if we went to an Ethernet? How many cameras do we have over there?
We have 8 currently.
So and how many of them are digital?
None.
So if we replaced 8 with Ethernet,
Well, the nice part of the system is that we don't have to replace them. It's a hybrid system, so we can continue to run the analog cameras in certain areas, and then add Ethernet cameras where we like.
in conjunction with those.
And it'll capture both. It works.
So what's the cost of one Ethernet?
On the lower end Ethernet cameras, I believe we were quoted, what, $550?
If this was one that Tim Pearson was going to purchase, what would you purchase, a 550 one or a...
No, I'd probably go up a notch. When you get up into near $1,000, they're very high quality, but we also have to make sure that they're properly domed, that they're protected from vandalism themselves, that sort of thing. But
So the new system that we...
Mango recommended like 890 for their top-end
yeah,
camera, so.
I think it was 875, but I think you're right. I think it was 890.
If there were to be their new system that they have now there, and you added 2 Ethernet, and then next year budgeted for 2, would highly protect our riverfront, because now we have vandalism that's costing us probably equal to a camera.
Clean it up.
To clean it up, and the damage sometimes never gets really replaced to where it was originally.
Yeah, the only challenge is if the cameras are located elsewhere in the park, there's some limitations in terms of length that you can go, and then, it has to be routed, obviously underground or somehow, and you have to have power.
If we were to, I'm just throwing this out. If we were to say, take 2 Ethernet ones this year, and you could take 2 of the analog ones right out where the vandalism is taking place under the, and then take those and put them out somewhere else where we don't have visual.
Well, more than likely, the 2 areas that seem to get a lot of attention are right outside the bathrooms. And an Ethernet camera there, I mean, we get pretty good clarity, but sometimes people move quickly around there. And that would probably be one place, and then obviously underneath in the picnic area.
Pavilion.
But in the pavilion area. But then the other place that the Park Commission and I and Mango had talked about was having a camera aimed down towards the fishing pier in such a way that, you know, it could capture enough clarity, you know, down in that area from the pavilion itself.
Well, one of the problems we have is capturing people close enough. The bathroom area is not so much of a problem, but even with the cameras we have, there are still blind spots.
There are.
And there are, you know, they know there's cameras, and so, you know, you get the hooded thing. But so if we had cameras that were, say, aimed out at the southern walkway, the parking lot, you'll see, you know, you can watch the vandalism take place, then they hop in a car and take off, but you can't get the license plate or the make of the car because it's too far away. So with the newer cameras,
You'll be able to do
you can
that.
capture more information.
I'm sorry, Tim.
The only other thing I was going to say is that I think it would also be helpful for other reasons as well to have a camera trained towards the front where the intersection of Main and Winter is.
Yep.
Because as, you know, there's always activity in that area.
A lot of activity.
The $2,000 that you have in here for security repairs, that's if something happened?
Right. Our thought was that we'd have 2,000 in there if we needed repairs. If come November or so, if we hadn't used that money, then we were looking to go out, just like you're talking, and get to the internet cameras and everything, and that's why we figured the 2,000, because that would give us enough to get those 2 cameras and everything.
If you didn't have repairs to
Repairs.
do during the
Correct.
We're
course of the year.
also hoping to put a camera up at 132.
Right.
So if we don't have any repairs to make, we were trying to keep the budget low. So if we have any more, if we don't have repairs, we would most likely put a camera down there because we've had a couple of break-ins down there and some vandalism. And there's, well, I'm gonna say
What did you guys use for postage last year, or this year? Because there's no breakdown.
Postage, it was probably about $50.
Programs, well, we have 1,200, what's the programs?
Programs are the, different programs that we run, like the 400 for the zoo, we ran that 2 times. That was close, I think that was $375 that came in, Tim, each time. So that was in there. This year, we didn't have the other programs. Last year, we had done some bat program on bats. We had a walk, that didn't cost anything, walk, but the bats we did have to pay for, and we had another one last year.
did the fishing.
Oh, yeah, Let's Go Fishing.
Yeah.
There's no charge for that, though. Outside of, we picked up some water to have for the kids. At that, we had picked up a,
I mean, we have some incidental costs because we print out flyers and whatnot, but, you know, there's also money in there, the wildlife in the park, you can upgrade the programs. So this is the second year we've been doing it, so next year we can upgrade and have more exotic animals, so people aren't seeing the same animals each time they come. It's a new spectrum of animals.
Excuse me, Al, I think you had asked me what the total landscaping was. The way I calculated it is $12,200 for all the parks.
So we have security repairs in Riverfront, and then we have commission costs, security in all parks. Is
Right.
that the maintenance fee from Mango?
no, that's to cover all of the other parks instead of breaking it out like Civil War if we needed. We were looking at that we should probably definitely get some security cameras up at the 132 ball field because we've had several cases of vandalism up there and with the ice skating rink and so forth. So we just put a line down there again for security, and it should say in all other parks. And
If you had security in all parks, it'd be $4,000 total.
yes,
So I think you should do that.
Instead of the,
riverfront, okay,
instead of riverfront, just put
4,000 down there. We can do that.
Buffalo Park, miscellaneous supplies.
right.
What a miscellaneous, what's miscellaneous?
Signage, trail signs,
Yeah,
placards, that stuff, so.
we already have them up.
We have some to put up, we have not had chance to get them up yet, but
All right, you really can't cut on the landscaping because it's contractual. Your water, your cleaning, all of that's contractual. The only, I mean, you're not going to have people coming to your programs if you don't advertise for them, and your bidding, you have to advertise.
right.
What's the miscellaneous supplies for the ice skating rink? What's in pump supplies? What do you need for supplies for the pump?
We've had breakdown.
We've had breakdowns in the pump, it froze last winter, so we had to do replumbing. The rink goes in with things that stick down in the ground. Those tend to break. We had to buy some patching tape for the liner that had got ripped with the wind, so we had to tape. They sell a special tape for using on that, so that's what the miscellaneous supplies are.
Those anchors are downstairs.
Oh, are they?
They're in the meeting room, in a box.
John, do you have anything to add, or
No.
question?
no. It's-
I still feel that either we go up 1,000 on the security and then at the end of the year, add 2 digital cameras. That allows 1,000 in case you have, in Riverfront, in case you have repairs to do over there. I can't tell you how many times we've listened to the chief and the officers in the vandalism that goes on over there. I'd really like to catch them.
I'd be more inclined to say that if you went up 2,000 and put the cameras in now, you'd catch them now. You're waiting in... it's almost
Possibly
like-
a full year.
It's almost like a crapshoot. And they're not gonna hit, they're gonna hit. They're gonna hit. No matter what you say, they're gonna hit again.
Wait a minute. Do we have any, Tim, do we have anything that we can take out of? What if we did that
Within which,
this
We
year?
have some town hall maintenance money still, we haven't spent all of
But
that.
what if we did that this year? We wouldn't have to put it in the budget next year.
That's
And
right.
we've got 2 cameras, and then
You
the
wouldn't have to put
following
the-
year, you could
You wouldn't have to
budget.
put the 4,000 in
Yep.
next year.
No,
Right.
the 4,000 doesn't include the 2 cameras.
I'll have to look.
1,000 is
Well, we can go with this budget
my 2
for
cameras.
now.
If we,
Vote it in. We can discuss
Don't
that
have to
anyways. And do what we wanna do.
Do we send,
Because
Do we get bids on these
We've got a
things?
couple bills still
we,
outstanding, Tim, but we may have some in the park commission budget that we could float a camera to, so.
Bob, on a lot of these things, well, in particular the cameras, did you get bids on those?
The cameras?
yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Yes.
On the security, yes, we did.
The security, the cameras, we haven't purchased any cameras, so, but the security system, we did go out for public bid on, and in fact, the budget committee had given me a name of a contact, and I did contact that person on the security, and Mangoes came in as the cheapest, and that's why we went with them. They were actually about $1,000 cheaper for the repairs and everything than the other ones, and upgrading the system to go with cameras down along the riverfront and cameras up at 132, all tied into the system. We were looking in the neighborhood of $40,000, and we just said, no, it's not worth that kind of money. And that was from 4 different companies, and they were all within a few $1,000s of everything. So that's why we stayed with the system we had, went with the upgrade to the computer monitoring so that we can go with digital cameras in the future. Got all the cameras we had cleaned, the lenses on it. It was unbelievable how cloudy they had become over the years, and you just didn't realize it looking at it every day. And once they cleaned it, it really improved the view and everything.
They've been installed for 7 years.
Yeah. The other thing we are talking about, and I'll put it out before the selectmen, is we're going to have to remove some of those trees in Riverfront. It's just closing in too much, and especially as far as the views from the pavilion go, we're running out of camera shots going out and everything. So I know on the 4th of July or Old Home Day, the upper stretches of the park didn't get used at all because there's so many trees along the walkway, you just can't see.
That was a problem there.
Yeah, so we're looking at possibly going in and removing 1 or 2 of those trees to open the view up and get the view from
You
the...
replant them somewhere else, or?
Can you remove them?
Where?
Talk to DES?
Oh, yeah, those aren't on DES. It's just down at the riverfront. The DES has the...
Talking about Riverfront?
Right, but I'm saying up
Way
by
up
the
on the
pavilion,
These are
around
way
the
up out of
pavilion.
the shoreline protection.
So it's out of the shoreline protection area. No, down by the river, the beavers are doing a good job down there for us.
The other thing, speaking of trees, is the tree in Vest Pocket Park, it seems to be taking over in the beautiful Christmas tree. It makes a great place for people to hide back there and do things. Is it time to
It's really time to,
maybe use it as a Christmas tree somewhere else, or?
maybe next, actually, if the town wanted to go back with the Christmas tree in the watering trough, believe it or not, in the center of the watering trough, in the dirt portion, there's a metal ring that's filled in with dirt, but if it's cleaned out, you drop a tree right into it. And then you can run guides down, and I don't remember it. They said it was used up until the 70s. And then they went to putting the tree in front of the monument. And I do remember the tree there, but I never remembered. But it's a ring probably about that big around that a tree can drop right down into.
We
So
had a tree out there. Yeah, I know, we stuck you up on the ladder 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it became a big safety issue. Line of sight, it's
It's a problem.
so we never repeated it.
okay.
Never
well,
repeated.
Would it, are they considering taking that tree out of there? I mean, just for, you go by and if anybody's behind there or doing something behind there or whatever,
Pocket
and
Park
you
is
can't
overpriced.
appreciate it anymore.
You know that.
And it would be nice to, I don't know,
Really discussed it, but It should be thinned out.
It should
We
be
all
Thinned
know
out or
everybody
even
knows that.
removed.
Yeah, well, that's, by thinning it out, that's what Catherine means, removing.
Oh, thinning out
some-
the whole park,
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely was overplanted.
So,
All right,
It was over exuberant.
hey,
so the
They were
budget
free.
is,
we'll take 3.
40,156, unless we wanted to increase that by 1,000, but I don't think we need to at this time, so.
I make a motion, we accept the budget at 40,156.
I hear a second. Second. Discussion? I think we're going to look at that, where the funds are now to,
We can watch the budget
Budget
as
to
we
see
get
what-
closer into December.
and if we get a
And take
contract.
monies.
Right, get a contract.
So maybe that should be a mission of the
Yeah.
Parks Commission.
To make sure we get an
some estimates on
guesstimate.
cameras.
Estimate soon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Next one,
Can I just clarify, you folks received
Your
an
time's over.
just received an email today from Tim, because I got a copy of it, with a list of gift certificates and everything.
Yes.
What we're trying to do is offset the cost of the fireworks. And we've asked businesses that are either participating in the parade, or if they aren't participating in the parade, to donate a gift certificate and so forth, and we're doing a raffle. Billy is presently selling the raffle tickets. We'll also be selling them down at the riverfront the night of the parade and everything.
and how much are the raffle tickets?
$1 apiece. So,
Okay,
and that's what that email's all about. We'll have more coming in as well,
and
so,
when will the drawing be?
after the fireworks.
That evening?
That evening,
Any
yep.
tickets on you?
Any tickets on me? No.
Yeah, well, you're not a salesman.
Sorry. I can run across the street and get some.
Bill Lawrence is, so
No,
you
you
can go over there and
can't.
get that.
Door is closed.
Hey,
Drawing into the-
thank you, appreciate it.
This is another indication. I mean,
Moving right along.
so they don't get mixed up.
Okay, Tim, do we need to act on the tan now,
At some point tonight, that would...
tonight? So I'll make a motion that the board allow the finance director to negotiate a $2 million credit line under 2.5% with Franklin Savings Bank for the calendar year 2015, and provide the selectmen the necessary paperwork for execution prior to 1/1/2015.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you have to close the public hearing?
No, I haven't closed it yet. All set to close the public hearing?
Yep.
So the public hearing on the $42,000 grant is now closed. There. Chief,
We still haven't got a chief in front of us yet.
you got your axe?
I do.
All right.
Come on, Ryan.
Come on, Ryan.
He's
Here's,
dead.
we'll show you how it's
Step right
done.
up. Join the show. It's a
Take
good
your
one.
feet up, you got your boots on, they shined?
Get your pencil sharpened
See you tomorrow.
and the eraser.
Yep, me too.
What are you looking for?
Let's go to...
Cashews? Want some
Right in the
cashews?
refrigerator.
All right. The total budget that we have is $2,056,048.
Boy, oh boy,
That,
oh boy.
it's up 1,600 and,
What have you?
Oh, no. last year it was $1,951,000.
Obviously, someone hasn't been.
So,
What was the amount you just read off?
$2,056,048.
Oh, so it's increased.
Yeah, I didn't have that either.
It's changed in a week.
Yeah, I had gone through and
What did
made
we,
the changes.
what did we change?
It was in salaries, based on recent PAR, personnel action report that we had.
Oh, okay,
Oh, I see.
that's it.
50. Merit Ruth,
Oh, I see.
yeah, it was just in the top.
Gotcha. In wages.
That's my whole plan up there for a minute.
All right. They, so the Office of Wages, it is what it is because it's contractual. Salaries, holidays, that's contractual.
I have a question on dispatcher wages. We had, you on, November 13th recommended that we change that line. We did take a vote to break it out, but we didn't, that failed.
That failed.
But you're not continuing that recommendation to this rate.
Well, because it failed, I just noted that on the sheet,
It includes,
that it includes both.
Right. But last week you suggested we call it PD support staff wages.
Yeah, I'm still in favor of that, but it seemed as though,
Okay, oh, I didn't know if there was, because, I mean, that, we made that motion a couple of weeks ago.
it was a different name, though. It wasn't support
Right.
staff wages.
Right,
something like that.
Yeah, well, something like that wasn't that.
yeah.
Wasn't support staff.
No.
No,
That's
No.
what I recall. But
I didn't know if you had new information to readdress.
That's why it got voted down.
Yeah, it is confusing for to dispatcher wages. Right now, it looks like there is one person's wage in there.
For
And every time I
$94,000.
look at it, I go, wow, I am definitely in the wrong business.
Right, yeah, I know.
And if I was the chief, I'd be really upset. Because I'm no longer the highest paid. I mean, that's the way it looks.
Yeah, it's all, I know, and that's how it's always been. They
Right.
They bundled them
It's like
together.
one of the biggest questions I get every year. Who are paying more than the chief? That's the question. So, we really ought to think about that.
Unless you had one for, unless you had, one for.
Can you just change it to dispatch wages?
But it isn't.
No,
all
it
this
isn't,
bad.
because it's also,
Two different positions.
it's two positions.
One's communication.
One's communication administrative assistant, which is communications assistant, right?
Right,
She's a
okay.
non-union, and the other one is dispatcher. So it would be dispatcher slash,
communication staff?
Getting there.
why not just put
We're getting close.
dispatcher, dispatch, say it like it is, dispatcher communications assistant.
We won't have enough room on your budget report.
How about just support staff wages, as I suggested, because that's what it is.
I'd rather see that than to just have dispatch wages and think that she's getting $94,000.
Can we call it support staff wages? Is that?
I'll make a motion, we change line 1-784210.30-130.
Show me.
PD salaries, dispatch wages to support staff wages.
Second.
Thought I was sleeping.
Could say
Discussions.
because that's
Well,
what they are.
I think support staff is too vague. I think it should have something to do with communications getting there. I mean, I would look at support staff, and I think it could be a janitor or anybody else, and...
You have a janitorial line.
And I'd like to have Joe here, too, because I know he was pretty adamant about that stuff, too, when we voted on it last time.
My apple is just delicious.
It's not a big rush. So,
Well, our budget's going out.
I looked.
We're not meeting next week, and our budget is going out. and I'd like it to go out.
Bad that my interim
If
is
we're not going to break it into two,
traumatized and disturbed.
it's going to have to be generic, because both positions are not the same.
Feels so bad.
One is called a communication specialist, and the other is a communication assistant.
Administrator.
Administrator, I mean.
Yeah.
So communication support wages.
Well, that,
An abbreviated.
And he can do an
that sounds
eight
like they're
font.
both communicators.
They both communication.
But my understanding is
They're
that
just different
one can no
titles under
longer do that
communications.
because she's not a union member. Wasn't
We could
that just
abbreviate
something
it.
that we experienced a short time ago?
Why can't we break them out? Dispatcher on one and communication assistant on the other.
Yeah.
Make me happier.
You can, it's just that you'll lose the historical comparison, because it didn't exist like that in the past, and then also you're printing, an additional line each time. It could spill another page, more toner. Well, I think...
You got me at more toner.
If we were concerned about fitting it on the line, I mean, if you look at line 3-4, it's PD, equipment maintenance repair technician, and we squeeze that in there by abbreviating it.
Yeah, it's not...
So can put
Comm admin?
yeah.
One question, I don't want to spend all night throwing this one
It's
around
not the
again.
report that you're looking at that would be difficult to read. It would be the report coming from our accounting system that is limited in space. I'll go with whatever you come.
Any more questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. Just me.
So it's,
And we can readdress that.
Yeah.
See if you can come up with something better.
I don't have anything better either.
No, I'm abstaining. I'm not, I don't, the motion did not pass.
did not pass.
What do you mean the motion didn't pass?
It's 2-2.
2-2.
You abstained.
Oh, I abstained,
That's
so
no
it's a
vote.
motion passed.
And when you abstain,
Right.
typically it's understood that you go with the prevailing vote.
Exactly.
So
Remember that when
what
you
is the
abstain,
title
people-
of the line item?
All right.
What is,
You
can you
abstain.
repeat the
That's
title of the
abstaining.
line item?
What's the,
Support
what is,
staff.
Is a
With the prevailing vote.
Go back to what you-
The other option is to decline to vote.
All right,
okay.
I'm good with it.
All right,
Catherine,
let's
that's
moving right
support
along here.
staff.
Part-time wages, they are what they are.
Office supplies.
Office supplies. Where are we down here? Way down.
Why is that line,
Budget
if I'm
director's
looking
here.
at the expense, it's like a seesaw, like mountain peaks of graph. Why is that?
Well, I mean, we try to be creative and pare it down each year. And when Tim and I sat down back about a month ago, maybe a little more, we
But I'm
went,
looking at your actual expenditures.
yep,
So in 2012, you spent $4,458. Did something come up unusual? Office supplies? A lot more wanted posters, tickets?
That's when Ryan doodled a lot.
Did you doodle too much and use too much? And then 2013, it was also over by 691. This year, so far it's under, but I'm just wondering, was there some unusual occurrence in 2012?
They weren't buying in bulk
yes,
either.
like, we don't buy letterhead every year. We might buy a bunch of it, and then it's good for a couple of years. So, there's certain things she buys that we don't buy every year.
And then all of a sudden you buy it?
And all of a sudden we buy it when we run out, so, that would be,
That
Sort of
should
like
be,
salt.
that,
and
Do you
and
get
this
your
year,
that's not an unexpected thing. You're telling me that, and I'm looking at that and saying, then that shouldn't have been overexpended. You should have planned for that and spent it within the line item budget.
yeah,
Did
sometimes
you
it's-
buy your letterhead from the prison?
I think we do, but like that, it's sometimes after a retirement, I remember we changed the letterhead for all the 2 lieutenants, and to make it accurate.
Right.
So crosswalk signs come out of that line? You had to replace a couple.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, it might have only replaced a couple of those signs, because we don't have a
We
sign
don't buy
line.
letterhead.
We do.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
It all comes out of the computer.
No, we don't. We don't buy letterhead.
We don't buy letterhead. It all comes out of the computer.
No, we buy it. Oh, yeah.
So why are you buying letterhead?
Downstairs.
Couldn't they print theirs right out of the computer? Isn't it cheaper?
Okay.
Isn't it less expensive than having somebody print letterhead?
We buy envelopes and
But that's
pads and
not,
stuff.
that's not letterhead. This is letterhead stationery. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten that before, and I think she did get it from the prison, but the cap said that particular year, he thinks we might have took a couple of the crosswalk signs out of it, too.
All right, so let's go back to printing letterhead instead of buying letterhead. It's a big savings.
No,
Think
go
we-
back, let's
Yeah, and
go
I
to
think,
that.
yeah, I mean, these are some of the reasons.
Just
we're
print it
able
out of
to-
your computer, you've got the letterhead already there.
If you don't, you will have. Yeah,
And then it's,
okay.
you have it, right? Letterhead?
They have it.
They have it.
Okay,
Oh,
so my
do we
next
wanna
question
hold that
is
one
why
then?
are we charging stop signs to the police departments? We usually put those from Public Works.
Stop sign.
Stop.
No, these are the
Crosswalk.
crosswalk.
Those, the ones that people can.
Oh,
Oh,
those
the
things. that
floppy
people
one
run
things.
over.
Yeah, like you.
Okay.
Those, yeah, one year we bought a
Pedestrian
couple of them.
crossing.
Yes.
Where are you at?
Okay. I was
Office
just
supplies.
curious
And
why,
that's including office.
why the office supplies for 2012 was
4,000.
so overexpensive.
That line shows, everything that's noted in it for 2012 shows office supplies. But there are some things like things for typewriters and things that are more expensive to get nowadays that we still had to use.
Are your office supplies, do we, like toners and whatnot, are those not coming out of IT? Toner is, okay. And are your envelopes bought separately from town hall?
Well, they have our
print-
info on them.
They're
They
printed
have the
Tilton
PDF.
Police Department, okay.
I think she uses the prison for all that. And, but I mean, I'd feel comfortable if we, left that the same for this year.
So 35. Dues, it was 33.85, then 34.65, then 85. Now, but you're still asking for, you're going up, you're asking for 36. What is in there that we need to pay dues for now?
So the breakdown on dues. Get that for you.
While he's looking for that, was that a board consensus to change that?
To 3,500 instead of
I
37.
know, they didn't ask you on that. They just changed.
I did, he got a nod from John.
You get my consensus if it goes down?
Yeah,
I got a nod from John. Don't be that way. We got a nod from Al, but it was a different one.
side to side.
Yeah. No, it was like this.
Oh, yeah, I'm going there.
He's looking up dues right now.
So a lot of it's professional. We have the FBI National Academy Associates, which gives us training, and a lot of times it's free training because you're a member.
Where does it take
Or
place?
reduced training. It
Virginia.
varies. I mean, it can
Tell me
be in
it's
any
not
state.
Virginia.
No, it can be in any state.
Oh, it can be in any state.
It can be in
California or
No,
New
it could be
Mexico?
in Mass. It can be
Oh.
in. It's usually I go to New England.
So it's New
So
England?
is this for your training, or are you sending someone else?
No, this is for mine. I'll keep going.
Okay.
FBI leader is the stuff the captain goes to, and some of the supervisors are going to start to attend those classes
Yeah.
going into next year. We have, there's IECP, which is the International Chiefs. There's New Hampshire Chiefs of Association, NESPN, which is what the detectives use for investigations. And there's New Hampshire COPSA, which is what Lisa belongs to, that's the New Hampshire Chiefs of Police Secretaries Association. She gets her free training from them. And Terry belongs to the New Hampshire Emergency Dispatch Association. That's where she gets her training. So these things that we belong to, the dues, once you're a member, you get free training from them. So, it's like being the a town administrators association.
So we
getting that
pay
kind of-
for it in dues, and then they get the training.
We get the training. And so,
Yeah, Buffington's.
and then, yeah, Nate Buffington belongs to the Polygraph Association and the New England Drug Investigators Association. So, and again, that gets him a lot of training.
How are we doing on the polygraph? Do we charge yet for outside agencies to polygraph?
He hasn't even gotten into, he's been so busy with cases. He really has just been straight out with criminal and sexual assault, and so he's very choosy what he does. Unless it's an agency that like touches Tilton and they're in a bind, he's just doing our stuff for the most part. He tries to keep it local.
All right,
Printing.
it went down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
printing.
every year we've been above that.
Printing, we went down. We hosted some training this year, and we printed some stuff for it, but we realized that we can save some money by using the big copier. It will 3-hole punch, staples, sort, all that. And so we're gonna, if we host training next year, we're gonna use that, and that's gonna
The
save
one that
us-
you have at the PD?
Yeah, and I asked him if it can handle the type of job that we did this year, and he said it can, so
So that's why we went down.
that's why we went down.
We've been above it every year.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had a machine like that, so,
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think-
I'm just trying to figure out why you went down.
yeah. Yeah, we were able to reduce about 8 lines. Printing went down. Police liability, I don't have that one anymore. Equipment maintenance and repair, that's gone down quite a bit because a lot of it was shifted to the IT line. Advertising.
What is equipment maintenance and repair? Tech.
It's,
TEC shouldn't be in that line anymore. Should it? Technology, Mr. IT guy? So what other
Yeah, I mean,
equipment
that's-
maintenance and repair is that? Does that include any kind of motor vehicle repair?
no.
You have vehicle
It's-
maintenance, but
Yeah, anything.
lights is...
Anything in the building other than what's part of the building or a vehicle that breaks down.
Because that
So,
line,
and it covers some of the costs that we have with the state. I know we've been using that line for the T1, and so
the T1.
that's the direct line to the state from our spots terminal.
It
So,
has to be a secure line.
It's a line, it's a telephone line.
Oh,
so that's,
communication line. Got it.
so I mean, we paired it.
It's not a support services line.
Communication.
Yeah, we've pared it down to, you can see this year, we're at 26,660. And between now and the end of the year, Tim and I talked about this, shouldn't be anything else really coming out of that, so we think that would be sufficient. Telephone has gone over to IT. Miscellaneous expenses is a lot of reimbursements, food reimbursements by contract. If they go to a training, we have to reimburse their meals, things like that.
They have to eat? Yeah. I'll tell you.
If we have to get something, for, if there's a retirement or something like that, and we have to come up with some of those costs. Heat, we dropped it a little bit by $100. It's amazing.
Back up. Electricity.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Skipped right over it. I
I
had
didn't
my finger
see
right on it.
sorry about that.
Tim, maybe you can answer this question. Why in 2012 did we spend $6,703 and then it went down from there?
Because we bid it out.
I can tell you that in 13 and 14, we've been on much lower contract rates.
Right, but I don't think we were in 12, were we?
No, our 14 contract rate was 6.99 cents per kilowatt hour.
So that's the difference.
That's the difference.
One was not contracted and the other two were.
And
That's a
I
huge
mentioned-
savings.
I mentioned during the highway budget presentation, currently, we are back with PSNH, reasons which I'll go into another time, but but we're shopping for another long-term rate.
Excellent.
So, Tim, do you still feel that amount?
Yeah, I think that's sufficient. Also, a number of ballasts were changed out at the PD, different kinds of lighting were put in the Sally Port. So there are things that...
PSNH had a 30% increase.
Well, compared to the variable rate that we would have been on, right now we're in the short-term window with PSNH, so we'll be on it until before the rate kicks in. Hopefully we'll be on a long-term contract again at a reduced rate. We're looking in the mid-sevens right now, 7.41 per kilowatt hour is the last quote that I had, and that was that was for 13 months. No, I'm sorry, 8 months. And I was trying to lock into a longer rate.
You said how much? 7.1?
7.41. But that has actually been creeping up a little bit. But in any case.
Do we expect an increase in heating oil, especially since it's way down? Or do they use gas?
They use gas, and we have a contract rate with gas, a very favorable one, which you may remember I sent out to the board, that rate comparison and analysis of all the departments.
Good.
So if we've spent this by almost $1,000 less than this, why are we up? Why are we at 2,400 if last year and this year were around 1,600?
We still have 2 more months left on this expense, which is the
Okay,
heavy
but in
ones.
2013, we spent $1,597. I don't use natural gas at all, ever. Don't know anything about it. Is it liable to increase? You said we had a contract. How long is the contract good for?
You got a locked-in price. I mean,
We're locked in.
But your use increases.
22 months. I'd have to go look.
If we get a long cold spell.
Right, your use increases because, you know.
These two
We can make them
upcoming 2
put
months.
the
but-
thermostat at 60. Right around in the cars.
Amen to that.
I'm just curious because it just seemed like,
Well, I mean, Pat's absolutely correct, because, it's going to have to do with the temperatures.
so that's what we're gambling for, is if we have a really cold winter or not.
Put a hat on.
I just make
Senior
wood
center will
stove-
knit you one.
I just make the wood
This guy
stove
never
hotter.
gets cold, I can tell you. He
Neither do I. I've never had heat in my bedroom.
likes it cold.
I have windows open right now as we speak.
And I'm the opposite, so he and I do.
You're going to have to start burning wood down there, Kevin.
I'm
Have a
telling you.
wood stove installed.
All right,
Or
let's,
pellets.
we'll keep going here.
Sewer, I think we left the same.
Now, I have building maintenance, I have an issue. Because we've
Yeah.
got to explain that. We spend $7,173.
So, yeah, so that we split the cost of the AC out of building maintenance, building improvements.
So we overexpended
We
that line?
overexpended it for the new air conditioner. The reason I have that amount in there for next year is to replace all the carpet. It's the original carpet.
You think $2,400 is going to replace all the carpet?
I got a quote, yeah, so it's to replace the carpet in Lisa's area in the hallway, and it's with the
same material?
tiles.
Oh,
So I got a quote, because I knew I'd be coming into
How
this.
much is the quote?
$2,200
For Lisa's room?
in that hallway with the green tiles, because it would be $1,300 if I went with the old VCT tiles, but because we're going with the
With
green.
that same,
It's $2,200.
so
it's the green.
is that the only
eco-friendly.
building maintenance you plan on having or expect to have or
That's-
anticipate? There's nothing, the railing that's going into the building that probably should have been replaced years ago?
You know,
On the
what I don't know, it's probably not in my end, but what I'd like to see within the next couple of years is that we do the parking lot. But I know that's another issue for another time.
At least seal it.
That should be in probably a capital reserve.
Should at least get it sealed.
Sealed, because I'm worried about is like, it's cracking so much that if we catch it now, it might just be a shim, but if we let it go too long, it's gonna
We
be a
shouldn't
full
wait another
reclaim.
year. I don't know anything about asphalt either.
Well, you're not gonna asphalt now, so.
No, I know, but I just want, I've been meaning to mention that too. But that would be what, capital reserves?
Maybe, depending on the amount.
Other than that,
Something, do you have a plan for the property? Do you have a 5-year, whatever many years outlook on, I know we just did a bunch of repairs, but now you're talking about the parking lot and
it is,
how old are the windows? I mean, I could think of other things that,
I could
You know
think
what I
of just getting
mean?
rid of the building and go do another one.
yeah, let's not go there.
I mean,
I've been on
Like
4
we
of
said, we
those
still need a
committees.
10-year plan.
I mean, within the next 3 years, I would look at doing the parking lot and the roof within the next 3.
So we should have a plan for that. Those things should be, we can get estimates for it now and then project out a percentage of increase, but have a plan for that, and look and see what the total would be. And then that may be a capital reserve, so, okay, there's enough on that. Janitorial service. Moving right along.
Wow.
right past
That's
that.
contractual.
So what's the difference between building improvements and building maintenance? Because certainly new carpeting is an improvement.
Well, yeah, you could argue, I think if I'm replacing something that's existing, I'm calling it maintenance. If it's something that the building never had before, it's an improvement. But,
Hey, we could save toner, combine the lines.
Combine it.
What are your plans for building improvements?
I mean,
Something
so,
you don't have.
so like,
What would that be?
so as like ballasts go, and we're gonna go to LED and replace those, well,
But is that a necessary expense?
it
Is
is.
that going to save, does that save energy?
Over LEDs? Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Good to LEDs.
And as they go, rather than
They don't support mercury.
replace with old technology.
LEDs don't have mercury in them. And fluorescent
The old
too.
ones do.
The
Yeah.
LEDs don't.
The
You're gonna like
LED
these.
is much, I think, more eco-friendly.
Oh, yeah.
very much.
They last for,
And saves a ton of money.
Okay.
I'm starting to
So that's a good
switch. It's a good thing.
New uniforms.
So new,
That's contractual.
yeah, we,
Do we have that many more new people, or
no, well, the vests are,
that it's increased?
in there, they're about 900 apiece. We average 2 to 3 vests a year.
That's not new uniform.
That's where-
equipment.
That's no, that's
No, we've always
uniform.
taken
Part of the
vests out of
uniform.
uniform.
That's
We
part of
have?
their uniform, yeah.
And they used to be
They're
600.
required to wear it with their uniform. It's part of their uniform.
Now they're like,
Oh, when did they start requiring it? Because I know one
We
person
required it
who didn't wear
4
it.
years ago. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
However, there was one that does now.
right.
Okay.
right. Mine's up next year, so we put 3 in there, and then there's the,
Tim needs to stop you for a second
No, no,
before you
I
get
just
out of
wanted to
control.
Remind you also that the contractual stipend
is in there,
as well.
and that's,
In uniform?
the boots.
that's
What
28.
contractual stipend?
It
They
was
have
the-
a $200
Equipment,
So if they-
equipment,
Oh,
if they
yep.
needed to buy a holster, or they needed to buy a
Flashlight.
flashlight or something
Okay.
like that, they can buy that.
Okay.
So the
And
vest.
that's in that uniform line?
Yep.
Okay.
So the vests and the stipend are in there, so that's what gets us to there. And then uniform maintenance, we put it 3,000.
That's
We're at 20
contractual, too.
Yeah, 2543. I think we're going to come in just under that. Training materials is, it's also tuition if they go to a school.
But if
So
you
why do-
host and get all these free schools, why do we need to spend $3,000 for schools?
Yeah, no, if we, like, when we hosted, we don't get, everyone doesn't go for free. I'll sometimes get 1 slot, 2 slots. Recently, we hosted, I was able to get 1 free slot and then paid for 2. So it depends on the type of training, but they won't cover everybody, but it does save you some money. By hosting this year, I probably saved, I bet you, $100 or a couple $1,000 in hosting, and it's just getting more money to them for less money. Basically, I'm trying to stretch our buck when it comes to that.
Why did we spend so much in 2013? Twice the budget.
In 13, on training?
We budgeted 2,500 and spent 5,065. super training?
I think that's the year we sent you guys, we didn't host that year, and we couldn't. The other PDs had already booked the classes I needed to for him and the other lieutenant that year. And they went
That's
to-
the year that we sent Nate, though, wasn't it? Didn't we send Nate to a class in
Was that the,
2013?
lie detector?
The polygraph. And plus, we sent the 2 lieutenants to come in at the time. So that was, so now, I mean, I'm trying to host as much as I can. I've already locked in 4 FBI leader classes next year. So other PDs can't take them. And gasoline, we're at 31.9 right now.
Keeping it at 32, I think, is very dangerous. That's
Yeah.
my opinion only, but what's yours, John?
Well,
Look at what they've spent.
I realize what we spent, but I'm thinking we should be getting better mileage on these cars, and the price of gas has gone down.
We only have 2 of those cars that we're getting better mileage on.
So don't let them
4.
drive the others.
How many Interceptors we have? 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, the black
Why do we
one.
need more
The-
cars
you-
then?
The ones in detectives.
And the gas prices are at the lowest they've been in like 5 years, and these are supposed to get better mileage, that's why I'm trying to
Our
figure out.
contract
So-
price for gas is $3, just under $3.13, including the surcharge.
You gotta do the contract, otherwise you pay it in the long run.
What was it
What was it before?
a year ago? And, I mean,
It was last week.
It was actually more a year ago.
it was more?
Gas and diesel?
And the year before, it was more.
From what I'm hearing, gas is going to keep going down.
So we...
I don't think
you
any of
we
us
should
can count on that.
I think should leave it like that.
just alone.
Leave it?
But I'd like to see it go down as we get the Crown Vics out of there.
All right.
So, vehicle maintenance, we're doing some stuff to the vehicles now that we didn't before. We're doing transmission flushes. Arthur bought the machine to do those. We're doing synthetic oil, which we didn't do before, which is supposed to add life to the engine. And now they have performance-rated brake parts for police vehicles. And Arthur said they last longer. And for the Interceptors, instead of doing 2 snows like the old Crown Vics, we're doing 4 to give them the most traction and stability in the all-wheel drive cars. So as we get into the all-wheel drive cars, we're doing 4 snow tires instead of 2. So between the transmission flush, the synthetic oil, and the high-performance brake parts, I put a little bit more money in there to capture that. So it increased by 2,500. But I think he's doing an outstanding job taking care of the cars, and hopefully that's going to, translate to them lasting longer. Radio communications, this year, we replaced a couple of antennas on a couple of vehicles, but we still have some old radios in the fleet, and when I get to the car, I'll talk to what I'd like to do going forward with radios in the cars. We got a grant from mobiles before, but there aren't, for portables, but there aren't any for mobiles right now. So radio communications, I put that at 15 to cover any replacement parts or work on the old radios to keep them going, and then also to replace any antennas. And so that's at 1,500. Photo supplies, Tim and I talked about it, and that line's been in there going back to when we were 35 millimeter, and basically it's a digital world now, and so we felt that we didn't need that anymore.
Print onto, like a glossy paper, is that in photo supplies, or does that come under your office supplies?
Well, now we would take it out of either office or investigative, but we just talked about it.
Or toner.
Or toner.
Generally, they're going to use the color printers for that,
And the paper comes out of that same...
the toner for those is expensive.
Well, when you have line items like the intoximeter, a $600 and a $100 line item, why aren't those somewhere else, at a general supplies or something, why are we itemizing that minutely? You know, the intoximeter is just another investigative tool, is it not?
Well,
You're trying to find out if somebody's over the limit, so why wouldn't that be in investigations? And the
We
photo
could,
supplies, that,
yeah, we could
you
certainly,
never have line items that small.
yeah, we could move it. I mean, it
Too
could,
finite.
the intoximeter could either be moved to investigative or to the equipment maintenance line.
And the
I would
intoximeter,
move it to investigations, that would
you've
be
never
my...
spent $600. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but 200 here, 200 there adds up. Why are we leaving it at $600? Is it we just never know?
Could be a hard one.
For what?
I mean,
The
the economy's
intoximeter.
improving, people should be happier.
Could be a hard one.
The supplies we have to buy for those can total up to $400, and if it's a busy DWI year, then it could go higher.
Okay, so it is.
We have to buy the
just
spit traps.
$600 is a comfortable, safe, because I don't know anything about it, obviously.
So if we had a season where we're going through a lot of supplies,
Yeah.
Unexpectedly wild motorcycle weekend.
but we certainly could look at moving it, I guess, Tim.
It would be the board's decision.
Move it.
So is it-
Okay, but let's talk about that another time. Let's-
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, weapons expense.
So weapons.
Weapons expense.
So, and
Up.
and
Is
actually,
that just bullets or is it guns?
Luke and I met,
Everything.
because Luke handles that line for me. We went over what we would need for ammunition next year. There was some price increases in ammunition, and also for taser cartridges, what we would
Make
need.
everyone, other one a blank?
I thought that,
Myself.
the tasers that we were getting came with tasers.
This is for training cartridges for next year, and for ammunition, so, and replacement cartridges. And so, going over the weapon line, just the ammunition alone would increase by 500, so I bumped it up to 3,500, and increased it by 500. But what typically comes out of that line is ammunition and taser cartridges, but the increase you're seeing really is ammunition.
From your
cost.
expenditures, it looks like a reasonable amount.
So each
My
guy should be
opinion.
handed 2 bullets a shift, okay? Let's cut this line down.
Bows and arrows,
We could exchange it. It should be-
slingshots,
Come out of more than that.
pebbles.
Let it come out of their $200 miscellaneous expenses. Did I say that?
You did?
Your investigation expense also confuses me because you're keeping it at 2,500, but in 2 previous years, you went over. This year's close.
Yeah, and in a couple of previous years, there was equipment that they needed that came up during the year, whether it be a surveillance piece of equipment or a camera. And there was one year, I think we took a little bit of money out of investigation and some money out of another line to help them get through that, and I think we had a special meeting about it. But
Well, there's currently a piece of equipment that they were going to approach us about purchasing. Would that come out of this year's budget or this one? Time's going by, we're not meeting next week. They're not here tonight, so
yeah, no,
time marches on.
I met with them about it, we're researching it, we want to make sure that we get the right thing at the right time, make sure it can do what we want it to do. And, you know, we kind of felt like we're not going to try and take it out of the budget right now, so.
But you don't, obviously you don't have it in this
So,
year's,
no, and.
I mean, next year's budget.
Yeah, that piece of equipment would just have to, you know, get assistance from another agency right now. We actually talked about it this week. So we've kind of put that on hold.
So you're not looking at purchasing it at all?
Well, we just want them to convince us that, you know, it's the right piece, it's going to work, it's going to do what we want it to do, and.
But it's going to be another year. If you don't put it in the 2015 budget, it'll be another year, unless there's a lot of money left over in this budget.
I ain't saying it.
Just food for thought.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming.
Under investigation expenses, right?
Right. Let me make a note.
Get back to us on that.
I will.
Drug investigation.
Zero?
That's,
I mean, see, that would make me happy if that was a lot. That just means that a lot's going on there and
yeah,
got some spots in town that are gonna get cleaned up.
yeah, that's if, you know, all of a sudden, they need to do something quickly, we have some money to, it's an undercover line, basically, and we've used it before, and usually we have to come to Tim for that, but, it's one of those, it's just, you have, when you need it, you may need it that day. And then equipment, oh no, the next one is pistol range. So that's when we go to the indoor range. Luke this year really tried to do a lot of the quals in Franklin, but of course that's weather-driven, so we haven't done our fall quals yet, so that's why that expense is low. But you could easily go through that if, you know, through the remainder of the year, all the qualifications are done in Belmont. That covers all the fees there, plus all the targets. And so we thought we'd be comfortable to drop it down a couple $100s, but I hesitated to drop it too low next year, because you just, if he has to do quals in the spring and we're still up to our ears in snow, he's going to have to take them to Belmont, and at that point, we're kind of at their mercy. As far as...
Would you leave it at 1,000?
Yeah, I'm getting the nod there.
You're really just moving the 200 from office supplies down there.
Yeah, okay.
What does everybody think?
Yep.
Which one's this?
That's,
Pistol range.
Pistol range.
What is it actually going to cost next year?
we left it at 1,000, John, so it would stay the same.
Maybe.
But it's,
I mean, you must know how much it costs.
Indoors, it could be more.
So, yeah, it's,
The correct one of those.
I mean, this year I asked them, do as much as you can in Franklin. Then again, you know, they graciously let us in there at any time. They could say, it's got too much lead, we're closing it, and then it's Belmont forever. We don't have our own range.
Belmont's more expensive.
Yeah, Franklin's free. We have to pay by the hour over at Belmont.
Where is Franklin shooting?
Down off of, is it River?
It's River Road. The other big thing about the pistol expense, the range piece, is the fact that I can save monies and salaries when I take officers over there, because I can shoot, do a qualification, and then I can turn the lights off, and I can shoot with a light, which is something that we need to do. And if I were to only rely on being outside, then I'm paying people hours of salary to sit around until it gets dark. So that's why the importance is there.
Franklin's range is outside?
It's the Targeteers range.
Targeteer, yeah, it's just
Where?
It's called the Targeteers, Franklin Targeteers, it's a club.
Oh, okay.
Range.
Okay, all right.
They provide-
So they're mitigating their lead. Samerton right now is having to mitigate the lead that's left over from the pistol range that was down on Poplar Road.
Oh, yeah, the days of PDs having their own range down
Yeah,
some dirt
so-
road, those days are over.
So they're handling it all right.
Yeah.
The sand pits
I was
are
just
not...
worried about the
Sand pits.
liability.
So,
Equipment purchases.
so the next one is basically the vehicle, so I wanted to get there. We have been, I'll start with the vehicle prices themselves. The CAP got some quotes in so far the lowest one we have in right now is Irwin. State bid's not out yet.
We're expecting it out next week.
Should be out next week, but Irwin usually tries to get that bid, so they've aggressively come out with $25,182 for the car, and to do that utility vehicle, they're at $27,154. And
Utility vehicle.
that's it's the same frame, same motor, same chassis, it's just a different body style.
Correct.
It's got more room in the back, it's,
So it's not an Interceptor.
It is.
it is, but,
It's based
Oh,
on...
actually-
HRV Interceptor?
yeah,
They
thank
call
God I
it the
brought these.
Interceptor utility
So
versus the Interceptor
that's it
sedan.
there.
so this would replace the utility one that you have now?
No,
It looks like a cross between a wagon and a Blazer.
this one is pursuit rated. This one you could actually drive as a mainline car 24/7.
So I asked, he got a price on both for me, and then we also got our quotes on, from OME, and we got quotes on doing the ICS, the Integrated Control Console, a new light
Avis. That's the,
in the dash.
Oh,
In the
that's
dash.
the computer in the dash.
A new light bar, and not move over an old light bar, and then also a new radio. So the new radios are about $3,000. The Havas control system is about $44, and the light bar is $33. The whole vehicle installed for an Interceptor with OME,
the Interceptor utility?
that's the sedan one that we have now. So to duplicate the 4A next year, with the Wayland light bar would be $41,474. There is a light bar
What
out
about the
there.
camera?
We have one for next year, so it wouldn't,
So what the cost of installation of the camera be?
that's in the quote.
That's in the quote.
That's in the quote. So that's basically installing the camera system we have. So that's $41,474. That's with the Wayland light bar, the one that we just put on the 4A. There was a light bar out there that Ryan looked at,
What is a wailing light bar? That sounds
Whalen's
like it
the
makes a
company.
horrible
The company.
noise.
the company.
It's that new light bar that we got on the new
Oh, you mean the one
Interceptor.
that doesn't shine in the front, so you really don't know that, you wonder why 3 vehicles are parked on the side of the road because there's no blue lights flashing, so you don't slow down till you get on top of it? You mean that light bar?
Well,
It can.
you can do any of that.
Where you want it.
Well, they really should. The other night it was,
That's a nighttime control thing that you do, is you kill your lights so you don't back them. It's a control thing.
the problem is, it's like, where was it? It was just this week.
Was it
Also,
state?
if they're
No,
doing
it
field
was one of
sobriety
us.
testing.
One of us?
They don't want the flashing lights.
I came along, and it was one of those, it was misty night, it was just recently. There were 2 cars that got stopped, a cruiser was behind it, and there was a lot of traffic. And I'm like, why are those 3 cars sitting on the side of the road? And it wasn't until I was right beside it that I noticed there were some blue lights. I'm like, what is that on the top of that car? And then I got behind it, and then I saw blue lights flashing. But there's nothing to warn oncoming traffic to slow down, because there could be people roaming around in the road along with the cars.
Doesn't this light bar do that? It has like a...
It's got little blinky things on the front.
All light bars have.
Bling.
On the front.
But I mean, it's like,
If they choose to cut the front flashing lights, it could be because they're conducting field sobriety testing, which
You have
what's
to.
called optokinetic.
oh my God, it's even worse. So the oncoming traffic's going to run over the guy in the road.
Only if they're on the wrong side,
If
then we'll
these
probably be
crosses
doing
the
another
line.
field
Yes,
sobriety
but we
testing.
all know that people's eyes are drawn to the activity on the sides of the road.
But
An
that's the
argument for a
complaint.
later time.
Yes, yeah.
But I
This
know what you're saying, though,
includes-
because I do know what you're
This
saying.
includes the light bar. Keep going, please.
So anyway, with the Wayland light bar, which is the one we have now, it'd be $41,474. There was an alternative light bar that the CAP looked at that didn't have all the bells and whistles. The Wayland one did. That was about $1,055 cheaper. It's made by Sound Off, but it doesn't have the side cutoffs. It doesn't do all the other stuff, but it's a new light bar. So it was a cheaper alternative if we needed to look at it. And I wanted to make sure we explored all options. So moving down to the utility, that one was $27,154 for the vehicle. The OME upfit was about $1,000 more to do the utility. And so their upfit costs and the cost of the vehicle would take us to $44,340, which I think is what Tim had, about $44,000 is what Tim had in there, to do a complete vehicle from head to toe with a new radio, with a new light bar, with the Havas control system, the cages, consoles, everything. So there's about a $2,800 difference at the end of the day between the Interceptor and the utility vehicle.
So why with 3 Interceptors already do all of a sudden we need one with more room? Especially when we have an SUV.
I'll tell you this, a lot of the bigger guys are cramped in there because it is like a cockpit. It's tight up front. And then the utility has a little bit more room, so the taller guys aren't knees on the sides of the steering wheel. They can actually sit like a normal person in the vehicle, and the utility is pursuit rated, whereas the current Expedition we have is not. So that's why the current Expedition isn't really used for pursuits or anything like that. It's just...
Sounds to me like if we go with the newer vehicle, it's going to be the most desired.
It would be a mainline car, yes.
But the most desired.
Would it be the most desired? Maybe, maybe not. Luke, do you have anything to add between utility and interceptor?
I mean, if we were to get utility, that utility would come in and try to run 3 shifts a day, days, nights, and midnights. And the 4A would drop down to the secondary car, which covers the other shifts, and then 3A and 3B would then be backup / whatever.
Supervisor.
So basically, every car moves down the line every year. And so, I mean, it might be the desired car, but it's not going to matter. It's going to run 3 priority shifts as long as it's in service and isn't out for an oil change.
Yeah, I mean,
Might be
you can drive it at a time.
The other benefit of that is, though, is you can make, since that vehicle will be the main line car, is you can make it into, you know, you can have, trunk space is very limited in the Interceptors, where these, you can put road hazard signs, you know, road crossing signs.
Cones.
So if you have a major motor vehicle accident, or if you guys were stuck in the traffic recently, we had to shut down Route 3, and trees falling across the road, you know, you can have the signs right in there where you can pop them out.
Would a dog fit in it?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Would a dog fit in the current Interceptors?
Yeah,
Do you get like
yeah.
a doggy thing on the side?
No, a canine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's what she was getting at.
Yeah, they do make, they do make a cage for both.
All right, moving right along.
I had a question. We've seen a couple different plans on motor vehicle purchasing over the years. We had one, like 2 years ago, that I pulled out that said we were not getting 2 vehicles one year, but we bought 2. And then the next year, where is it at now? Is this the same plan?
Yeah, the plane you're talking about was, I was looking at the black and whites when I put that together, and it was one of the old unmarks that, it was the black one, I think it was, that really started going downhill, and that's when the highway said, you're not going to get another year out of it. You really need to do something. And so some of my decision is driven by what I hear from Arthur. You know, I can think I'm going to get 3 years out of a car, and then he can come to me and say, I thought you were going to get 3, but you're not going to get another year out of it. And that can change my plan. The older cars in the fleet right now are the Captains and I's. We have the oldest ones, and we're trying to get as much out of them as we can. But the guys that are flying around Code 3, I'm trying to make sure they're not in old cars.
They're reliable.
That they're
The other thing we discussed years ago, and many times, was the rotation of the cars. What happens is you get the new cars, they get up to a certain mileage, then you slide them to not being used as much. Then, so you end up with the whole fleet of cars that are at this like 70, 80,000. And we had discussed before that, why are you not still filtering those through? These vehicles are all repaired properly and they're taken care of. And then that way you'll have cars that get up, you know, the 120, 150 and push them out, instead of just having them all stagnate at this one level. Because what we're doing is we're getting a new car, we're just driving it to death and then putting it on the shelf instead of using and getting them out. You know, get rid of the old ones.
Those cars are still getting used. They go to the trainings, they go to the school, they go to the details, and when they're on detail, they're running up to 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and at idle, that's an equivalent. We've been told it's an equivalent of like 33 miles per hour of just idle. So that wear and tear is still on the engines. You know, your suspensions are pretty much worn out after 2 years of driving up Clark Road to an emergency where you are now bottoming out in the wintertime next to Drew's.
I think
I could see the same thing happening, and again, I've heard, when we've discussed it, that all the cars, as soon as they come out, they get used, everybody runs the first, the newest ones up, and then they all just stagnate at this 70, 80,000. And, I know things get used and they get worn out. I mean, I drive cars with 285,000. And I drive to maybe not quite the same, but I get them inspected, and when suspensions wear out, they replace the parts. So I really don't think we're using them wisely in such a way that we're pushing out the old ones. We're just hanging on to the old ones. And we should get the mileage up on those, so we're not running up the mileage on the brand-new ones.
Can we save this discussion for another time?
Well, I think it has to do with...
I think it has
and
value.
the other part is, what is the plan for now for replacing vehicles? Because it keeps changing.
If I may, one of the things that the chief and I are working on, and it goes back to the asphalt and the parking lot, is that we're working on a capital plan, which includes all the major ticket items in the PD, from vests to firearms to radios to cruisers, equipment, and listing that out over a period of years to see, what the anticipated replacement cycle will be, so we have a better feel as to what, the capital costs are going to be, and perhaps even, to look at starting, such as we have with the highway department, where we have a highway equipment purchase capital reserve fund, because there are some things that have been delayed and deferred for many years that aren't, particularly in the radios, that are big ticket items that aren't going to last forever. But getting back to the cruisers and your question, that those would be incorporated in this, and it's something that the chief and I have started working on that I think would give the board a lot more visibility as to what our costs are over a period of time and what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, we're not sure what the life of the Interceptors will be compared to the Crown Vics, because it's a totally new vehicle to our profession. I'm optimistic that they'll last longer and be less maintenance, but it's yet to be determined. They've only been out for a couple of years. We do consciously try to shift around and rotate the vehicles, but if we have 3 out on a shift, we have to make sure that they all have cameras, they all have the MDTs, they have all the equipment that they need, where some of the older cars, we don't have those fully equipped like the new ones do, so...
Let's talk about rotating later.
Okay.
I have a question on the cars. Tim, I apologize, I don't have it with me, but I asked you a while ago, what is the actual cost when we purchase a police vehicle? And it seemed to me that figure was higher than any of these. Have you looked at these quotes?
No, I have not looked at the quotes, but no, I would agree that going through the process for the budget, it's clear to me that we're looking at right around $44,000 thereabouts to properly outfit a cruiser.
And that was an Interceptor, not the newer.
That's correct.
Okay.
But, that was without the 2015 pricing.
Right.
So going by what we thought the 2014 pricing was. But no, I believe that's accurate, right around that neighborhood, the 44,000, yeah.
So then we'd have to add on the extra if you were going to get the SUV version. Okay, thank you, Tim. Immunizations.
So the immunizations is also psych tests. That's one of the lines we take out of there. If they have to go get a...
How often do you have to do that?
Every new hire.
Every new hire.
Well, we don't need that for this year, then.
Yeah. Or if something happens, God forbid, then I don't... But if someone was involved in a shooting, they would have to go through that before they could come back. And so that's that line for that. If I had to, order someone to go get a physical, that would be the line.
Okay.
And then emergency, legal, we left that the same, 10,000, and that's...
Pass that down to John.
We're not anticipating any
These, you can never.
Yeah, you,
out of the realm of things happening this year.
no, and I'll knock on wood 3 times, but no. So we left that the same.
Do we have a new total?
I have a question for you. Did you end up making a change to,
We really just took 1,200 and moved it down to the other, so it shouldn't have changed.
1,000.
just the range you wanted to make 1,000?
Yeah.
There shouldn't
So
be any
it's just-
change.
Right, the bottom line should stay the same.
We took 2 from one and put it in the other.
Where did you take 200 from? I missed that.
Office supplies.
Oh, from office supplies.
And that went to pistol range.
Yeah, so it would be the same total figure.
I can swallow that.
$2 million. $2 million.
Is Barnstead subcontracting from Belknap County Sheriff's finally? No, that didn't work.
That all fell apart.
I knew it fell apart at first, and then I thought it went
Yeah.
back together.
There, just as an aside, there are other options for the purchase of the cruiser.
Right.
So there are some leasing options, there's ways of paying for that out of the special duty fund by leasing. So right now, the PD budget shows that an increase of 5.4% for $105,029 over 2014.
Can you say that one more time?
It's on your cover sheet.
Oh, okay.
But it's a 5.4% increase.
Got it.
$105,029.
Got it. I don't, personally, I don't want to make a motion to accept it because we're going to make,
You have stuff.
you've got some things that you're going to check in on and get back to us on, after Thanksgiving.
Right.
And then we can make the adjustments then. Because yours is the heaviest.
Yep.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ryan, for assisting,
Yes.
and Luke.
Remember, be safe out there. It's a rough world.
I have one more thing in public. It's make a motion to accept a donation from the Barbudos for the Thanksgiving baskets from Tilton Trailer Rental for $500. This goes to Heather for her Thanksgiving turkey.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And they have done this every year for
Yep, a lot of years.
a lot of years.
Mhm.
It was so generous. Before Tim leaves, I know it's late, but I wanted to readdress the contingency fund line I brought up before. Because Tim is here. He's
We
not
do have a
always here.
non-public, you know.
I do, but Tim is not always here with us. And last week, I said that I would ask Tim to come and talk about it. So he's here.
Talk about what?
Candy dish. Line.
Well,
Taking those excess monies and putting them into one line. I call it the candy dish line.
Don't say candy in front of the lady. over
But I
there.
think that if we
Should
brought back the contingency fund line,
the only challenge there, I mean, certainly through RSA 32, the board has the ability to transfer budget monies and can do so, you know, from department to department as you see fit. But where we've had a line before that was a contingency line, we don't currently have one that town meeting approved. So it would mean, I would imagine, the Board of Selectmen creating a line, designating it as unanticipated budget surplus, or, you know, or some type of form. But as I understand it, the idea is that where you have something where you know you're not going to expend it. So if there was some saving or some lower expense in payroll or one thing or another, or something that we were anticipating buying that we couldn't purchase for some reason, then the selectmen could then decide to transfer the budget allocated for that into a different line. I was actually thinking a line that the selectmen, have complete control over, within the admin line, admin budget rather. But however you choose to do it, it would be a matter of my keeping track for the selectmen, which budget lines it was coming from and which it was going to, so that in the town report at town meeting, when people see the prior year budget and then they look at what they voted on, they'll see that the budget had changed, and we would have to show where transfers were made, which we've done in the past. So it's just, a little bit more making sure that the budget committee and the selectmen are aware of how those transfers were made and why, and having kind of a roadmap for them, which...
That's required by law.
Right. Yep.
But with this line, you wouldn't allocate monies to this line, you would just have this line as a open line where you would transfer from other lines to put in this line.
Correct. You wouldn't expend from it. You would just be transferring the budget to it.
And then
So
expend from it.
No, you wouldn't.
No, you transfer out of it to unexpected needs. It's like look at the legal line in the police budget. It was an unanticipated, unexpected expense. We couldn't control it. So you could transfer monies from that into it. I mean, it's like right now, I can't tell you how much money was left over in the payroll lines we had because we had employees that were out for various reasons. I can't tell you how much money was in there, and I can't tell you how much money we've spent out of that. That's why I call it the candy dish. I can't tell you that. If we had that line there, you would have a clear roadmap, as Tim said, as to how much money was left over, where it went, how much was spent, and how much is left over. We'd have a much better understanding of monies in the budget, and therefore be able to manage our budget much better. I mean, as it is right now, I don't know what's left, but I hear lots of wants, lots and lots of wants. That word encumber has gone wild in this town.
It's getting near Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, and it is. People go, how much money is left in my budget? I hear that so often. It's not your budget, it's the selectmen's budget. You merely have a line item.
And I'll reiterate my concern in my last report, which was, I think, outside of the most necessary encumbrances, it's going to be a very tight year end.
So it just gives us much more control, a clearer knowledge of where money is going and why it's going and where it came from.
I kind of like the idea, but I'd really rather Joe be here.
No, that's okay. I just didn't want to have Tim to come in special for it.
Well, and today you have the capability of the board deciding to, transfer budget lines today.
Absolutely.
Without even creating any other line. You could decide to allocate $10,000 from this budget line to that budget line.
I certainly don't want it to be more confusing to the Budget Committee. I want it more transparent, as much as transparency as we can give them to what we do and how we do it.
It would be
That's
much
going to be the
clearer.
answer.
It would be much clearer to the Budget Committee, because when you make budget transfers, you have to show where you're taking it from, where you're putting it, and why.
Yep.
Right now, if they ask me, what happened to the money left over from, the payroll line? I don't really know. I'd have to say, well, you're going to go talk to Tim.
Right.
But yet, we're the ones who've expensed it. We're the ones that said, yeah, okay, let's take it from there. I just think that this year in particular, there was way too much of that without a clear vision of, where it came from, where it went, and why it went.
Okay. Any more? business to come before us in a public session? You got something else.
Yes, I need a motion to accept the CRDC grant and to sign the sub-grant agreement. Tim has reviewed it. I've reviewed it. I went over some exhibits that Rip needs to attach to this before I mail it. But we're good to go. So if you want to vote to accept it and to include as one of the exhibits where you voted to accept it, I already had Cindy sign a certification saying that the board is who they say they are and have the legal, can legally enter into agreements.
I'm really not who I am. Are you really who you say you are, you say?
And
I am what I am.
I'm not certain of many things right at this moment.
Just the other thing I could add is that
5-hour meeting.
Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Morning?
In the morning. Next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Rip is going to be meeting with Robert Flatley of Enpro, because I relayed my concerns to Rip that they're not doing anything. They've been sitting there with a...
You working there today?
Yeah, see, talk to him. And he said part of the problem is, and that's what they're going to discuss on Wednesday, is that they really haven't had the supervision.
Whoa, back up. So whatever foreman that should have been there wasn't there, so the employees ran amok?
I don't know, that's why we're welcome to go to the meeting, but just remember that it's Rip's meeting, and it's the contractor is subcontracting to Rip. So Rip is there to work out...
Rip is our representative.
He's our representative, and he's there to work out, like, what the grant's paying for and what the grant is not paying for. I made all of our concerns aware. I did know that we knew that we were going to have to pay for the, I shouldn't say we have to pay, it's an allowable grant expense, to have the surveyor come out to show where the line was.
Thank God he did.
And the tree taken down. That should be extra.
Yes, and the tree taken down, that's correct. So we know that there's two, so he's going to submit a change order for 17A and 17B for those two things. But, so you're welcome to come. I had mentioned it to Chuck.
I don't think
Really, Chuck has been out there every day watching. And I won't say more than that. The other thing is that the CIDC, all of the Enpro money will be paid from the EPA grant, because you'll see that bill next week from them that we have to pay, and I'll submit immediately to EPA. The CRDC grant then is going to be used to pay for Rip's expenses, Cordari's expenses.
Good night.
Night, Tim, thank you.
And,
Thank you.
and Belknap Landscaping. I've also been in touch with, thank you very much.
Accept that.
No, we signed it.
Okay.
That's pretty binding.
With Glenn Smith and Rip, that the WRTA grant for the trail, that's all set to go. He's ready to put his bid documents out for bid now, so that's good. I mean, we're getting close.
So they met their deadline.
Yes. And the only thing that we need to provide for them is what our benchmark is, which we had already given them, which is 430 as the elevation, so that they can go ahead and plan in their construction documents, put in the specifications on how the trail will meet.
Have they accepted our letter so that we can create our fund?
Oh, WRTA, I haven't sent that off yet, Catherine. I know, we have the fund, they technically have already sent a letter, it's just they're gonna send another letter.
No, but their letter
saying
didn't
what
cover
yours-
anything.
All right. What else? Is that
Okay,
it?
so we're all set with that then? Okay.
We're going to go into a short non-pub. Sorry. Would you like some cashews? There isn't any up there. It's right here. You want to grab a piece here? Make a motion, we go into non-pub, say 91A:3. This is that which would be discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation. Okay.
And legal.
And legal.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
The legals are real quick. Remember, I think it was last week or the week,
Make a motion, we seal the minutes of the non-public as they pertain to legal until the matters are resolved.
Second.
As they, all those in favor?
Aye. It is currently 8:35.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Catherine never knows what time we come out of non-public.